Folks, we are live. Welcome to Gamers Health. This is strange, right? Because you're actually getting to see two couples, not just one. So, as most of you know, I am Rach Tenkar. This is my wife Rachel. Now, with us, we have from the Tabletop Taproom. Now, Tom, I'm going to screw up your last name, so I'm not going to.
Everyone does. It's okay.
We pronounce it Veralt. It's been Englishized for a couple generations, but the French pronunciation would be Vero.
Even our GPS says Vero.
Yeah, the GPS gets it right, which
Gets
is amazing.
it right.
There you go. See now, I'm known as Tenkar.
Our GPS has never said our name.
No, my God-given last name is Stina, Stiene. And it's not a secret since Justin's doxed me with it. So
yeah, like y'all can know.
So Justin, by the way,
he's doxed me too.
Since you're probably watching at some point, but it's spelled Stiene, and I've had two people in my life get it right off the bat.
Wow.
One was, or I should say three now. One was a college professor for history. One was an 8-year-old girl in the South Bronx in Family Day in Crotona Park when I was a rookie cop in the summer of '97. And she won the $4 and change in my pocket for getting the officer's name. She asked me what my name was, and I go, Eric. She goes, no, silly. What's your officer name? I was like, it's on my name tag. You can read it. And she sounded it out. And 30 seconds later, she's like, I before E. Stina. Come on. I gave her the money. Her father told her to give it back, and I wouldn't take it back. But they were barbecuing, so I got fed. I didn't go hungry.
You had a nice cookout.
Yeah. And I had a doctor that got it right a year and a half ago.
Oh, right, and
yeah, but he was Polish, but spoke like every European language.
Yeah.
So he told me I was pronouncing it wrong when I said Stein. And he's like, try again. Because I don't, when people can't pronounce your name, like you don't want to have to correct them.
Yeah, Eastern Europeans always know.
Yeah. So a lot of times, if I have an appointment and I think you call, it's like, yeah, hi, this is Eric Stein. I'm calling to confirm my appointment. Because if I say my real, how do you spell it? But if I say Stein, they'll just look at the screen and figure it out. So.
Right.
But in any case, you have two couples who have last names that you'll probably not get right if you tried.
Well, you certainly don't have to try.
You don't have to try. But Tom and Tammy, Eric and Rachel, we already have a question. What was the reason for starting the Gamers Health live stream?
Good question.
Nice. And this was your reason.
It was
both of our reasons.
But it was my reason. 2020, the year of COVID. I never had COVID, but I was hospitalized 3 times. I had upper respiratory that became pneumonia and sepsis and presumed COVID. So I was treated like a COVID patient before there were COVID patients, which was horrible. Oh yeah, I was in an isolation room with negative.
Just go home.
Yeah, I went from that to here's a mask.
We're gonna have an onslaught here. Get out.
Yeah, walk yourself out. You don't have it probably, and we're gonna be.
Wow.
It was Elmhurst Hospital. That was ground zero for New York City.
Yes. The refrigerator trucks.
Yeah, when they were piling
up right on the street by it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that also led to sepsis. That led to congestive heart failure, which I was in denial of for like 6 weeks because it was COVID, and COVID could kill you if you went anywhere.
Yeah, he was afraid to go to the hospital. He was afraid to go to
urgent
care. Doctor.
Yeah. So finally got to the point where I had to, and I was hospitalized for just over 2 weeks. And it worked out. It was one of those miracles where like your surgeon tells you, oh, well, if you came here 6 weeks ago, the results would be the same. You're leaving here healthy, but you would have been exposed to COVID. Instead, you came half a day after we opened up a COVID-free wing in the hospital.
Yeah, that's the right.
So yeah, so things like that. And then at the end of the year, not even the end of the year, the end of that summer, I got hospitalized again after fainting. We were in a local pub for getting out of the house, and I was outside having food with my wife and my son's fiance, and I had stomach issues. I had diarrhea, and I had high blood sugar before. Took my insulin, and I suspect I had low blood sugar and low blood pressure because I was dehydrated.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
So, but I was hospitalized for 3 days that time with the cardiologist telling me you're wrong, you have heart issues, and that's the reason why you fainted, and we got to do all these tests. And after all these tests, they were like, you were right. It was probably low blood sugar and low blood pressure because you were dehydrated, but found out that the left carotid was completely blocked.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Would never have known otherwise. Okay, just that
You kind of got lucky.
I got lucky, and my body's compensated, so they don't do anything. Just got to eat healthy and exercise and be smart.
And take the statin.
And take take statins. Yes, take cholesterol meds.
Statin.
Yeah, they said stent in. I'm like, no stent for that.
No, I said stent.
But
I think I called it a statin, not a statin.
Yeah, but all these events happening in my life, minor miracles or however you want to call it, but you realize that everybody's going through health issues, and a lot of times nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to share it because it's private. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
If you share it and then you talk about it, then others feel comfortable talking about their stuff, and you realize you're not alone. Because listen, if I didn't have Rach, this would be a much harder experience
turn into an owl and fly it.
Or my bad. That's okay. Or trip to go through. And when you have somebody that can go through it with you, changing my diet, cutting out the carbs and make more protein, and
we had to clean out the whole closet because
and exercise. These are all things that are so much harder if you're running solo. Like, two of you or a couple, you seem to be well suited for each other. It makes everything easier because you're right. So
that's funny you mentioned that, because I'm very much I don't get concerned till I see a puddle of blood on the floor somewhere.
Right.
So I'm like, you can say like, I could have cancer. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Let's make an appointment with the doctor.
Yeah.
And that's me.
That's him.
But she obsesses. Like something happens with me. She's like, she's looking it up on the internet. She's researching it. We got to change your diet.
Yeah, we got to know.
Yeah, no, she's good that way. But in her defense, I am not her first husband. So, because there were two prior, she's a widower twice over. So she kind of worries about me a little bit, and that's okay. That's okay.
I know. And they're both medical related. It's not like, they died in a car crash, that kind of thing. They're both medical related. So I absolutely, if he, he calls me.
She wasn't going to date me unless I was in good health.
Wow.
If something is preventable, then we prevent.
Yeah. My kids, which are, they've been through a lot, losing their dad at young ages, and then their stepdad. They, when I said I was going to start dating again, they were like, if you need to meet this next one in the gym or get a printout of his, last physical or whatever.
Be medically cleared today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so she did the see if I had a criminal record or that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and then check me out. Health wise.
Was some of the first questions like, "Hey, so how are you feeling?" No, like, really, how are you feeling? Yeah.
Well, and that's it. Like I'm a survivor of Hodgkin's.
Yeah.
When I met Rach, I was still seeing my oncologist, I guess, every 6 months at that point.
Yeah.
Rach had lost her father to lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's,
right?
Not lymphoma.
Yeah.
So she already kind of had that idea of potentially, I guess, what could be at risk. And in my case with Hodgkin's, I was handling the chemo so well, I didn't lose hair. Wow. That I got extra chemo rounds because it's like, oh, you're handling it well. Oh, but That's probably what caused my heart issues. Not necessarily the chemo. That was probably part of it, but was the radiation.
Right.
You punt a lot of medical decisions that you make in your life are what's the best decision for now.
Right.
And then I guess my thought was like, all right, in 15, 20 years, I have secondary issues. We'll be more advanced.
Right.
And,
Right.
and we'll be able to handle it hopefully better than.
Mm-hmm.
But for me with my Hodgkin's, I was pretty much like Tom. It's like I'm at work and my neck swelled up on one side.
Wow.
To the point where I took my college shirt and I'm buttoning it up, and another woman I worked with, a fellow sergeant of mine, a friend of mine, Michelle, goes, "You got a goiter." I'm like, "What?"
A goiter. You have a goiter.
You got a goiter? I'm like, "Yeah," and I literally had it for it swelled up literally over the course of like an hour, and then it kind of went down a little bit over the next couple of days, but didn't go away.
Yeah.
And it took a friend of mine, Kenny, to badger me.
Well, it's interesting she said a goiter because a goiter is like it's inside the thyroid.
Yeah.
And so we, as somebody with Hashimoto's, like we can get goiters and stuff. But by God's grace, I've never had a goiter. I have nodules and stuff that are millimeters that I'm carrying around, but they're not doing anything. So we just let them live, and that goiter, like that person was like, yeah, that's what that is.
Michelle was raised Jewish in New York City.
Yeah.
Goiter is the word you're going to hear. It's very regional. But,
I haven't heard goiter since the nursing home.
Yeah. So, my friend Kenny made me go to his doctor, and right from the start, I had great. Everybody was on board, and if somebody who would avoid stuff. And I rolled out like significant upper respiratory infections without seeing a doctor back then because I don't want to see a doctor. I don't need to. You see, that kind of changed a lot of my attitude. If it wasn't for the world that we were in 2020,
right.
would I have waited 6 weeks to go see a doctor? No, because I saw my doctor when I had the upper respiratory infection. I came back from TotalCon. After going to a doc in a box out there, saw my doc. It's like, yeah, you have an upper respiratory, which just happened to progress and not leave.
Wow.
But I mean, I don't have an issue with doctors. I had an issue with COVID or the perception of COVID or the way the world was in the beginning.
Well, because it was so prevalent here.
Yeah, it was. We could hear the ambulances going to Elmhurst Hospital.
All hours, constant.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We're in the woods in Maine, basically. So it's very, we've not had any COVID in the house at all. Lots of people at church have, but knock on wood.
Yeah.
And when this thing was all going down, I was a nurse's aide for a decade of my life. So right away, I went to Walmart. I bought a bunch of baggy sweat clothes, sweatpants, and stuff. And because I was prepared in case somebody got COVID, I could be the one that could gown up and go in the room and take care of them. And, and my father was on his 7th round of cancer at that time. So I was very concerned. All right, we'll isolate him from everybody and I'll be the one to. Yeah. So I had already prepped all, masks. We had bought cloth masks before everybody else. And we had, we had prepped for this. And then I saved the receipt. And we never used any of that stuff. So
you know what? It's best to be prepared and not need it to then be unprepared and need it. I mean,
the intention goes a long way instead of just how.
I mean, so I'd rather be prepared and never need any of it.
I overreacted, but it was okay.
And now COVID is like super on the rise here in Maine, but
we still haven't had it.
Let's keep knocking on wood. We have not had it. We've had some scares and we've taken tests, but we've been lucky so far.
No, we had it over New Year's. We were going to go down
the week between Christmas and New Year's.
We were going to go down.
I don't know. I feel like coldy, but kind of weird. And it's like we should check because people are really scared and they're,
Before we go out for New Year's Eve.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was like
yes, it was.
It was like 3 days before New Year's.
No, it was the 30th we tested. We tested. We tested on the 30th, the day before.
Hold
New
on.
Year's.
We went in the pub on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then we tested that Thursday.
All right.
So it was like 2 days before New Year's.
All right. 2 days.
Yeah. No.
All
So
right.
we had to be sure.
But again, and that's only because
I
I
had the
ordered.
sniffles, so I said, "Let me get that."
And I
You're
ordered.
like, "Yeah, you really want to? You really want to?
Do you really want to waste one of the
test?"
We
I was
only
like,
have
okay.
two.
That's
We
what
only
it's
have two.
for.
And so it's like, and then he challenged me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And then, he reads the instructions, how to like get the sample together, and
my
I
God.
do it.
Whole thing.
And I was like, I got a good sample, so here you go.
Oh my
Bombs
God.
away, and it was boom,
I thought, yeah,
pop positive
Uh,
like within 5 minutes.
I'm like, Rach, you're not pregnant, but
Yeah.
Bad news. You're having
Yeah.
a COVID.
you got
The
the
COVID
COVID. You go,
rat.
I'm not going to bother testing because if you have it,
Then
and
you
I
have
have the
it.
similar symptoms, I
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for us, it was annoying flu symptoms for about 4 or 5 days. I had brain fog for almost a month, where it literally was
Remember that?
off and on.
Yeah, I just had the fatigue for a long time.
Yeah, and then the fatigue lasted about 6-8 weeks.
Yeah, like where you kind of needed extra sleep.
We couldn't get up in the morning. I would fall asleep in my chair here in this room for like an hour and a half every day. I was just like, I can't sleep enough. This is annoying.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, you don't nap much. You're not a napper.
No,
I'm a napper.
I'm not a napper either, Rach. He's a napper.
I'm
He napped today.
Well,
Well,
you guys have a lot.
Yeah, there are times I nap before live streams. It's like, it's 6. I'll set my alarm for 7:30. It gives me a good 90 minutes to.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you do that? Because you got to put your stuff right and put yourself right.
Yeah.
Well, there's this thing called a caffeine nap.
Yeah.
It takes caffeine 15 minutes to hit your system, to really hit your system. So you take caffeine in whatever form you like, and then take a 15-minute nap. And when you get up, it's like your eyes are so like much wider than they actually are. It's like it's been proven scientifically. And it's like, and I've done this, and it's like you've got more coming in through your eyes. It's like you're even more awake. It's crazy how effective it is.
Well, that one I gotta try.
Yeah, I've never napped like that.
I don't know.
When I drove for Uber, I would do a Red Bull and take a nap in the car with the smartphone with the little timer on it, and then I'd wake up and then I'd get back to work.
But you legit can take a nap anywhere. Like today, we went to pick up groceries. Like they bring it out to the car, and you waiting less than 5 minutes, and he was super tired, but he had a caffeine drink. He had been drinking, and then next thing you know, I look over and he is snoring. And when you woke up, you told me about a dream you had. And I was like,
I can sleep in a car anytime.
And he gets dreams in these little naplets.
Yeah. I don't get that. I can't nap. I'm not a napper.
No.
I mean, there have been times where I've
long to go to sleep. You know?
Yeah. No.
There have been times where I've just pulled over on the streets of Cambridge, Mass, and like, all right, this looks safe. Lock the doors.
No.
Rack out. Wake up at 4 a.m. All right, let's get people to go into work.
No.
Wow.
I cannot do that.
The one time I could not nap was when I was working midnights. And you would think you're working midnights. I did that for my last 6 months. Perfect time to get naps in. I could not nap for anything. I tried. Could not do it. Uh-oh.
Cat.
Oh, you see, you like us. You got cats and dogs.
Oh yeah, they tell when they're going in and going out.
Yeah, that's Lovey. She's very demanding.
Yeah.
Our girl Sadie is very demanding. She brought herself in the day after we had to have our girl Ashley put to sleep because she had cancer. The day after she comes, and we've been feeding her for a couple of months outside. She comes to our back door in the rain, crying. I'm like, she never cries at the back door. I'm coming in. I'm like,
raining, and it was like, I finished work, and she's crying at the back window, calling up to us, like, because she would do that. She was hungry, and she was like bored. She wanted some attention. She'd like lay in her chair in the backyard and kind of call up to the kitchen. you know.
And we
And
went down to my parents and
yeah,
opened
well,
the
and
back
we
door.
think she's ready, and then she came and she like just walked right in.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but I tricked her into a carrying case, and we had her brought to a vet to make sure she didn't have feline leukemia.
Yeah,
Yes,
affect
right.
the others. Yeah.
My parents have 2 cats downstairs, and we're like, we don't need them interacting.
Oh, yeah.
But she adjusted she was somebody's pet at some point. She was young when we got her. She was less than a year old.
Right, because like in summer, I'd put out the laundry on the line, and she would just come and like rub all over.
Oh, yeah.
It was so sweet.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's an orange tabby. So
Oh my gosh.
Marmalade lady.
Oh, we're in the country and we're overrun with field mice and pocket gophers. So we need a cat that kills things.
And she does. And she goes out, does her thing, and meows to come back in.
So
and she's a little Siamese-ish sounding. So when she comes in, you have to translate all the meows because they're loud and annoying. And we think she's telling us Timmy fell in the well. We don't know. It's a wacky episode. We're like,
she pushed
what?
Timmy down the well.
Oh, she probably did. Yeah.
That's more her speed.
See, our old cat, my cat from before we got married, she was a talker, but not a talker in like she would give you speeches. They were rare. But I got my first speech. I was getting up to do overtime I was up at 3:30 in the morning, and I'm in the bathroom, and she comes to the crack of the bathroom door, and it was just me upstairs, and she comes to the crack, she peeks in, and she had that very tired look, and then she walked to the door jamb, and I hear and went on for almost a minute, kind of like a child trying to speak Chinese, it's a cat trying to speak human, and then she poked her head back in, she spit, and then she stomped off.
So she was letting you know she didn't appreciate you getting up at 3 a.m.
Yes,
I was like, "What is this madness?"
So Rach and I, we're courting, and it was the first night I actually stayed in the Bronx at Rachel's old apartment. And I come home at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you come home, and both my parents are downstairs. They're watching TV in their living room, and I open up the door to come into the house. And I see this head poke through the top railing, and you hear the speech.
Oh, he was not happy with you.
My mother lost it. She's like, "Wow, you're getting it from your daughter, aren't you?"
The parentified child.
Yeah. I waited all night. You never called. You could have been dead in a ditch for all I.
Where have you been all night?
Yes.
Oh my God.
From the cat.
They all have their own personalities, and I've always felt that having a pet is like having a child. They become such a part of your life, but they're also children that in the back of your head at some point you're most likely going to have to bury them, or say goodbye to them.
Yeah.
And it's something as a parent, it blows your mind. I'm a parent, it blows your mind that you'd ever have to do that.
Yeah.
But with pets, it's but would I be happier without a pet? God, no. They're such an important part of my life.
No.
Well, I had pawned my cat off on my parents when I went to college in my late 20s to go to seminary in Boston. And so, I come home to visit, and I trained this cat to come when I whistle.
Yes.
And they had never reinforced that whistle thing, because it's easy. You just, every time you feed them, you do the same whistle.
Right.
And so, I'd come back to visit for Christmas, Thanksgiving, bring dirty laundry up, that sort of thing. And, I'd whistle, and the cat would just look at me like, the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I don't respond to that.
They feed me anyways.
Yeah. I don't need our dog. She's a miniature dachshund. She is a sweetheart, and she's very smart, but she's not one you can teach tricks to. She teaches her humans tricks.
That's lovely.
She learned, hey, listen, I'm gonna look cute. I'm gonna sit up and give you my paw.
Oh yeah, she will go up on her back legs. And
How cute do I need to be to get what I want?
And it looks like she wants to play patty cake.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
she's
gosh.
doing that because, and then she's like, and then she'll look at the treats, like, come on, I'm looking cute. Give me a treat. It's like,
She's like, where is it?
you're training us.
There's no
Yeah.
need to hold out on me here. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Lovey.
Lovey comes in and she goes up on our bed and she wants the treats that are on the windowsill, and there are hers. They're for her, and she knows it. And so, what do? Like, she's like Pavlov's dog. I go
doesn't
over.
finish them. She leaves half wet treats on the bed, and I find them by putting my hand on. Yeah.
This one gets push-up treats. This cat, Sadie.
Oh, we just started that, Rachel, and now I can't go back.
We use it to bond at night to.
She loves them.
Yeah.
It's like I'm giving her drugs. She is like,
yes.
Is that the thing? She gets extremely excited and she licks like there's no tomorrow. It's hilarious.
She will look at the thing and she'll point. It's almost like a dog pointing.
Yeah.
And then, she'll go on the table because that's where
I just got.
She tends to like to take the treat on the table.
Oh my gosh!
If catnip was marijuana, then this would be.
Oh, it
cocaine.
is.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my goodness!
And she does love her catnip. We have it in a shaker that we just shake around the place, like when she's stressed or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's cute about it. But now when our son comes, Chris has only visited with her. Ashley he lived with when he was here, but so he wants to be loved by the cats, and most animals love him.
Yeah,
he has too much energy for our girl, so she's like, "I'm not upset with you, but don't get too close." But she wants the treats from him, but she vocalizes the whole time.
Oh, geez.
She'll be licking and licking and licking at the tree all the while, going. That's sounding like a motor. So, it's
like, so she's not happy getting the treats from him, but she's happy having the treat.
But
like I want it, and I'm not giving it up.
But
so you're gonna hear about it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Somewhere my son sent me a video of it. I think we
I have some on my phone too. Yeah.
We were at the my parents' place in the Poconos, and I get this video. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I play it, and all I hear is. You're looking at me. I'm doing Sadie. I was doing an impression of you. I was like, what? What? That sounded familiar.
Oh my gosh.
Well, when we lived in England, when I was in high school. My mother loved poodles because they didn't shed. She was a neat freak. They didn't shed.
Okay.
So we had poodles my whole life, and we went to England without a dog, and while we were there, somebody was going somewhere to Japan, wherever, and they were like, we can't take this poodle. So Dad brought the poodle home, and the poodle's name was Sixpence. Because it's England, Sixpence, and that's about what the dog was worth. The dog did not like men; it only liked women, and it only liked my mother. So if my mother wasn't home, it would go to my sister, and if my sister wasn't home, then he'd come and try to get attention from us men in the family. And we were like, "Screw you!" Nobody liked the dog except my mother.
Oh my God!
So I'm home from college, from seminary, and I'm watching a Western or John Wayne movie or something with my dad in the den, and something is itching the back of my brain, and I'm like, and it's bugging me, and I'm like, and I can't figure out, something's wrong, and I just can't figure it out. And finally I go, where's the dog? And dad says Sixpence committed suicide.
No, that's a sad story.
No, it's a funny story.
No, it's what?
Because I'm like, how does a poodle commit suicide? Well, he got old, and he just decided to come in. His only friend is sitting in a chair knitting, and he decides to lift his leg and pee against the chair. My mother's sitting in there knitting, and so she gets mad, cleans it up, and goes on with life. And then the dog comes in and does it a second time. So Dad comes home. She goes like, take him to the vet.
Take him to the vet?
Well, she told him take him, and he was like, and Dad looks at me. He goes, she didn't have to tell me twice.
Oh
Terrible story.
Really sad.
Yeah, but my brother and I laugh at it all the time.
Okay, it's just you and your brother. The rest of us
Oh
are
my
going.
God.
Yeah, I think that's a special thing for you and your
But you
brother.
know, he was
I'm about to cry
like a
right now.
15-year-old
Right?
fool,
I'm having Barbara flashbacks.
Oh God.
but he alienated his only friend in the world. And
Oh, because he made your
'cause-
mom mad.
well,
Oh, I
yeah,
get
because
it.
you know, and then she's like,
Right.
"I hope you found a good home for him." And my dad's like, "He's a 14-year-old poodle," you know, and he just started going through all the great, awesome qualities that we all hated.
My goodness.
You know, I'd walk in her bedroom at night and I would touch, you know, I'd put my hand on her knee. She'd be in bed reading,
Bastard.
and the dog would bite me. You know, he'd be like, "Get
He
away
was
from."
protecting
I
her.
know.
Yeah, I think that's protective.
But oh yeah, sixpence. Nobody liked him, and the cat I pawned off on them used to torment him. So my brother would feed the cat tuna fish. It was.
These are not heartwarming stories. Just no one's getting any warm.
heartwarming to me.
No,
But how did that seminary go for you, by the way?
right?
Yeah, that
I got
doesn't
kicked out of
sound
seminary.
right.
You at the end, you make it like you're
The
such a
very end.
badass with that story.
Well, I dropped out. I got kicked out. I went back. I dropped out again. You know.
It took me 8.5 years to get out of college. I was on the extended plan. My sister was 4 years behind me.
Yeah, me and your sister. Were
Yeah, and she graduated
we
with
did
me.
the same.
We-
Yeah.
Hey.
Literally the same graduation class.
Everyone's own pace.
Yep.
You get to take photos together. That's nice.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and Jerry Seinfeld was the guest speaker.
Oh, no
Oh,
kidding.
that's nice.
Oh, see, now
Never
that's
had
kinda
anybody
cool.
good.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's I think that's when like Seinfeld was just starting, before it became too big.
Mhm.
Like, oh
James
yeah,
was asking you
Yeah,
if you
no,
watch
no.
Dungeon
I
Minister.
don't. I'll have to look
I've-
him up.
Yeah,
never heard of him.
me neither.
Let's write
I'm
a
like
note.
Dungeon Master? No,
Dungeon
Dungeon
Minister.
Minister.
Yeah, I mean, I actually know one Catholic. I know one Catholic priest that's a big gamer, Tom.
That's kind of
And
ironic.
I've met a few other clergy that also play.
Mhm.
So I always find it interesting because
Yeah.
I mean my history is I'm raised Catholic.
Yeah.
My mother's
Don't we
aunt,
all?
my Aunt Norma, Sister Camilla. When you think nun and the black habits, I think of my great aunt because my mother had to sew the coifs every couple of years when they would wear out because you can buy them anywhere. And Norma was staying with my grandmother because my grandmother was trying to go senile, and she was watching her. She was on vacation from the convent in Pittsburgh, and I don't know, I think I was like 18, and I was sleeping downstairs in the one air-conditioned room. My parents were in the Poconos, and Norma couldn't sleep because she went to sleep like fully dressed and was hot, so she went to my bedroom and found all my D&D stuff, and then called my parents at 7:00 in the
Oh
morning
my goodness.
to tell them I was a Satan worshiper and I had all these books about spells, and she was willing to do the hard work of throwing them all out for my parents so they wouldn't have to. And my mother was like,
I'll protect you from them,
my
my child.
my mother was like, just no, leave everything. We'll take care of it when we get back. And then I got the phone call of, listen, your friends play other games too, like that. What's that Traveler thing or Star Frontiers or whatever non-fantasy stuff? I'm like, yeah. She's there for next week and a half. When your friends come over, because we were the house where
Play
everybody
more
came.
sci-fi. Leave the demons and
Yeah, don't
dungeons and all that crap.
Yeah, have
alone.
your friends play science fiction stuff, and she'll be gone soon enough, and then you can.
Yeah.
play.
My mother got on that kick. She was part of a Catholic women's group, and now she never looked at my D&D books, but what she looked at was my vinyl albums, and I had everything from AC/DC to Asia.
Oh
And
yeah.
she focused on the Asia album, the one with the dragon walking across the, and Asia's very mellow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she was like, she wanted to throw that album out for some reason, and I'm doing everything I can to talk her out of it. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, honestly, Mom, you're missing AC/DC Highway to Hell, which I have.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Which I never played out if she was in the house.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That was my encounter with the Satanic Panic.
Yeah, like my mother bought me my D&D books for my D&D books, I should say. she knew I was
Aw.
interested in it, and she got me the player's handbook and the DMG and a set of dice
Oh,
for my birthday at like 13, because she was like, anything that will make him read and
Yeah.
socialize.
right.
I mean, and to be honest, I mean, here I am. I'm 54.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be 55. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to do that.
But
How old am I again?
gaming is how I meet people. It's how I socialize. It's my social groups. Because when you get older, my experience in general is that when you get older, you're more, I don't know, reticent. You're much more careful about making friends than you were when you were in your teens and your 20s. It's like,
Right, you're just too well defended.
yeah, if I'm going to waste time
Yeah.
investing in you, I better make sure that I'm going to keep you around as a friend for a while, and not be one of those like 6-month friendships that you always had in high school.
Yeah.
Which were intense, and then you never saw the person again because they moved or whatever. But that's what gaming is to me. Like, when I go to gaming conventions, I go to socialize. I'll play a session or two, but I'm there to see people. I'm there to put faces to names on Facebook, or get to actually shake hands and give a hug to somebody I've known for years, but only see once or twice a year, at conventions. But my best friends that I think I've made in my adult life, two of the closest ones, I've made because of gaming and literally doing the online stuff. Which if you'd asked me 20 years ago, would that be possible? I'd be like, you're insane.
Yeah.
I have friends that I feel like I know them well. I've never met them in the real world. And but I've just through chatting through the Star Frontiers forums, it's like I've gotten so like when I can read something that somebody's written, and I can be like, Eric Windsor wrote that. Richard Rose wrote that. Tom Stevens wrote that. I know them by how they write, and it's kind of like a toss back to that old, when people used to write letters and mail them to each other.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it's more instantaneous. But I feel like I've gotten to know these people, and I don't, and I really don't know them through meeting in the real world. A couple of times, Tom Stevens and I tried to meet in, Boston or Rhode Island when he was on the East Coast, and it just didn't work out.
Well, I mean, there are people like James Spahn, White Star, Hero's Journey. James and I have been friends now for, I don't know, close to 10 years. I think we've met in person once, maybe. But I'm the godparent of.
You sure? Yeah, I guess it was just one weekend.
Yeah, but so I'm the sponsor. I was his sponsor when he got confirmed.
Oh, that's cool.
And I wasn't actually physically there. Somebody had to stand in for me, but we did the process together. That's the kind of friendship that I've met somebody who, again, I've met physically once, but we're on the phone probably a couple times a month, on Facebook, virtually daily. Those are rare friendships to make at any point in your life, but as adulting, it's even harder. And I don't think, I think it's important to be able to make those friendships. Again, I mean, I'm blessed I met Rach. I met Rach at a point in my life where I was like, well, let's see, I'm raising a child that's not mine by birth, but is effectively my son, because his mother passed. I'm in my 40s. Who the hell is going to date me at this point?
Hope springs eternal.
It's like, it's always interesting to start the dating process with, oh, and by the way, I've got a 15-year-old son who's angry at the world, but isn't he lost his mother 2 years ago and hates God and hates most of existence, and I'm trying to raise him.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, why
I
would?
was like, all right.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
So
cool.
It worked out so well with us that I guess I was dragging my feet for too long, because Chris reached out to Rach and asked her what her ring size was.
Wow.
After trying to make me go away.
Yeah. First, that was the initial reaction. He wanted nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Then he wanted to go on every date with us.
Yes.
Okay, it's a little
The
cramping.
chaperone?
Date and
Yeah, and double date.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
that's
but
awkward.
then he's like, "What's your ring size?" She's like, and then he tells me Rachel's ring size is. I go, "Huh?" He goes, "You were taking too long."
Oh my god.
I like your son.
Yeah, I like this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at 18,
He's a no bullshit kind of guy.
yeah, at
I
18,
like that.
he
To
was
this
I can
day.
appreciate that.
That's like somebody else we know.
Yeah, you.
at 18, he was my best man.
Mhm.
I was like, I
love
can't
that. Oh,
choose
that's like
anybody
girl.
else.
Yeah.
I had my
Yeah.
daughters stand
Yeah.
up with me as my best man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Best
They
daughters.
were the best.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then your daughters stood with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my sister was me.
Yeah.
And then she surprised me with a Star Wars march as we were marching out of the church. That was
Oh, nice.
so at first I was like, what? Huh? And then I look at her and she's smirking, and then I was like, oh, okay, I know what's going on here.
That's awesome. But the key to a lot of part of life, again, in our case, when I met Rach, I was done with the idea of dating, and I was like, I'll be retired in a couple of years. I guess I'll be playing EverQuest and Anarchy Online as MMO. By the way, met Rach. I never played another MMO, but
Yeah, hey.
I mean, that was the mindset. It's like, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna be whatever. And then I met Rach. It's like, oh, this could work. And at the same time, my son was asking Rach for her ring size. My father had to pull me aside and go, "So, what's going on with Rachel? What do you mean? Don't fuck this up." That was his quote. And Rachel knows my father. He's very stoic. And
Yes.
and he's like, I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Don't wait too long. Don't fuck this up. She could find better."
Oh shit. And I could just hear him doing it. Just be like, because he'd be like, at first, because he'd be like nervous to like say it,
but then he'd come out.
Would feel he has to,
Yeah. So I don't know if my father and Chris were tag teaming me.
Yeah, and he gets perseverative.
Oh yeah,
he'll say it 5 ways from Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I knew Rach, but I had a lot of people making sure I knew.
Thank God.
Everybody around you was telling you, hey.
Oh, they all knew it. But and again, even I was in my 40s, and you're kind of like, yeah, it's real, yeah, it's good, but I guess she's gonna wake up one day and say, "What the fuck am I with this guy for?"
Oh.
No, you have that in the back of your head. There's always that self-doubt. Obviously, I got past that self-doubt. Or Rach put up with that self-doubt. I'm not sure which one it is. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, we all have.
But I could not be happier, and I'm a better person because of Rach. Because what did Rach make me do? She made me become a blogger because I was showing interest in it, and she's like, "If all you like to write, do it." I'm like,
Well, if it doesn't cost you anything and it's something fun for you, like you can't.
It's a hobby.
Yeah.
Online gaming via VTTs.
It's just been so cool to see it sort of grow over the years.
Yeah, she was the one that was like, "Yeah, you should be playing with these guys." I'm like, Saturday nights. I know where you are. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. Right in the next room, my computer. Yeah,
Well, that's like the Wargaming Club. It's like, hey, I'm going to be there until about 2-3 on Saturday, and then I'm coming home. We're going to break for lunch, eat some nachos.
Yeah.
You know where I am. I mean, I'm with a bunch of nerds pushing Napoleonic toy soldiers around the.
Yeah, it's all good.
I mean, Rach didn't really know much about the gaming hobby in industry until she met me. And I think the first game I put you through was Tunnels and Trolls.
Yes.
And then she went to North Texas with me when I was supposed to go with Joe the lawyer, and he had to cancel on me because he couldn't afford it. And I was like, I got the room. Rachel's like, I'll go. We didn't have a real honeymoon. I mean, we had Chris chaperoning us.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll find some stuff to do in Dallas. I'll go in the city. Thinking there was going to be a train somewhere. Dallas there's not. I mean, there's trains there, but
there's not really mass transit like
Yeah, it's not like you can like walk out the front door and just get to anywhere you want to get to.
But not only that, I signed Rach up for every game that I was in, but I purposely set up her first game session with a guy named Tim Schneider. Tim's a great guy because he was running Time Master, and I figured it's a game, right? Pace setter's little game. Figured,
yeah, that was fun.
Now he was involved with the reissue of it with Goblinoid Games. But I figured, besides Tim and maybe myself, how many others at this table will have much experience playing it? So Rach is going to go into a game session where everybody else is going to be pretty much on the same level of lack of game rules knowledge. And that was good, though, because
it was.
It allowed you to just enjoy the process, not get bogged down on what are the rules, because Tim handled all the rules.
Yeah.
And then before I know it, you were wrestling a 4-armed alien, and I was like, my wife is being violent in an RPG, and I'm finding this both exciting and scary at the same time.
He does. He seems like a really good game master to like bring people out and then like create scenarios that like fit people and that are just it's amazing gift. Like,
so how often does she play in a game that you game master?
Maybe once a year, a couple of times a year.
Like if we didn't do Shara Khan this past year in Connecticut.
Yeah, usually up there I'll play in his
it's sort of visually light
there.
And you've played in a couple of sessions at North Texas.
Yeah.
Gamehole. When we go to Gamehole, Rach doesn't do much gaming because Gamehole, the hotel shuttle takes you anywhere within 5 miles.
No, 3.
3.
So yeah,
she's
you can
exploring.
go do yoga classes, or you can go over by like the little bohemian part of town and look around.
It's Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So Rach has
you have some options to be able to like get out and check stuff out.
But I mean, I still remember the first time Rach broke out of her. She would always play a fighter, and then one year she was like, "I'm gonna play a magic user." I'm like,
yeah, magic user sounds interesting, but like I didn't realize that the lower levels you don't really have much spells or like I don't know, ability. I didn't really do much. I was like, so this magic user thing, what are you supposed to be doing? So then I started wanting to like hurt people. So it's like, okay, well, what do these spikes in my bag do? Can I hurt somebody with that?
She threw her daggers, and then she's like, but she became a real gamer. It's like, all right, I threw my I have no weapons. I got spikes. Those sound dangerous. Can I use them as weapons? I'm like,
you're not a fight. We just, like, and I'm still working on trying to like do something else. So maybe we'll try on another type of class. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this one has a propensity for pulling out her laser in my Star Frontiers game. Shooting the guy they're supposed to be capturing because they're the police and they're supposed to be apprehending the criminal. And she's just like, I just shoot him with my laser. And everybody's like, no, we got to talk to him.
Shoot first, ask questions after.
Yeah, that's the kind of
I know it's the other way. Yeah, I would not make a good policeman. No.
Well, I mean, last North Texas, you played in the spouses group.
Yeah.
The spouses of Frog Guy Games. They what's that, Sunday morning?
No, it's not just Frog God. It's like just spouses of gamer.
No, they're
people.
all mostly associates of Frog God. It just seemed.
Oh, I guess because it's Jen.
Yeah. The 2 Jens.
Yeah, the 2 Jens organize it.
Yeah. And Skeeter was a frog for the longest time. So
okay.
But I walked by their game session, and I got scared because Rach, what were you guys? It was like a gangbusters type of deal, right? Like
it was like a prohibition thing, and we were like our husbands have been killed, right? And because of the violence of the 30s or whatever, and then so we had to take care of things because we couldn't let the family business fall apart. So the ladies stepped up into like the gangster roles,
Right.
and yeah, it was really
It's
fun.
like some reality TV.
So yeah, we would use like you know, people who
Let's say it. You weren't rolling drunks. You were literally making examples of people, weren't you all?
oh yeah, I mean we were using them to we were just trying to see if they, you know, if we could trust them or use them for something, and you know,
If they were disposable, they disposed of them.
right, and if they were, if it didn't seem like they'd suit, you know, or be able to like carry through certain things, we took care of them.
I walked by the table. This is going on, and I hear this. Yeah, I shoot him in the back of the head. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, I was like, and Rachel's like, yeah. And I was like, I'm like, all right, I'm just stepping away. I'm probably best off not knowing any more than what I've already seen.
Sometimes in your day life, when you play like a very like, I have to be like, watch my words, and you know.
Oh yeah.
So it's fun when you get in an RPG and you can like
Let go.
You could just
you
let
just
that
let go.
go.
You're like, no,
Yeah.
actually, I'm gonna just shoot.
Let your hair down.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to be the calm professional here. I'm just going to do.
I don't need to be the social worker.
Right.
Right, exactly. I don't want to always do the right thing. Let's know how this is when you're not making the right decision. Let's do
There
that.
it is. Yeah.
We've had a few of those games.
Oh my, yes, we have had a few of those.
Oh, shadows.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's a lot of chat in the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up on it. Paul, my wife, sometimes she sees one of my gaming books and says, "What is this?" Rach no longer says that when she sees my gaming books because they're in basically every room of the house. And
Even the kitchen.
There are so many. This is just a small sample.
you know, it's like
I want to put the food away. There's a gaming book.
What's this that just arrived in the mail?
oh my, yeah, I know.
Another book. Do you sure you don't have this one already?
Well, when I interviewed Doug Niles, I was like, "Hey, can I get you to sign a couple copies of modules you wrote?" And he's like, "Sure." So I'm on eBay buying up a bunch of modules
Oh no!
to ship to him. I'm like,
I'm just going. Oh, maybe we need to. Maybe we need to. You know, put a box together, take it to storage. You know.
Yeah.
No, don't know when
Like,
you.
I need it all.
Yeah, I went to the attic last week. So he had this episode of gout, which he was in denial about, but it was gout, where his ankle hurt so bad a week ago.
couldn't even put weight
He
on
could
it.
not put weight on. We had to get a cane. So we were trying to go to church last Sunday, and he could hardly walk. And I'm like, listen, we could just stream and be home. But he was like, no, we're going.
We gotta
And
go.
church is literally 3 minutes down the road. So we crawl up to the attic, and by crawl I mean like we have
I crawled up. to the
we have an old part of our house and we have a new part of our house. And the old part of our house was built in 1940 by your grandfather.
Right.
So we're going up this stairs that were built for a tinier human and very steep. And we get, and he can't walk. So we're doing this together, trying to find a cane and a walking boot. And we get up there, and so we find the things, but then I'm like, I don't really venture up there. It's sort of where we toss like, hey, we went to like our version of Costco, and we have like massive piles of like toilet paper and paper towels and tissues and whatever. So I don't usually go up there. So I get up there and I turn the corner. I'm like, hey, there's a whole bunch of like miniatures and there's a whole bunch of stuff upstairs. I'm thinking all the stuff that we have is down in our basement where he's got it all in like all these drawers. No, there's a whole other section upstairs that I didn't even know about.
Originally, I briefly had custody of my biological daughters here in the house.
Yes.
And so I gave them the downstairs rooms. And so I made a sleeping space up there in the attic, but then the nicest part of the attic, I actually made a paint station and had like 90% of my miniatures at one point. But when I'm up there, I can't stand up. I gotta like be hunched over because there's not enough
Oh, okay.
This was made by a little Frenchman, and he was short.
Oh, my
Yeah,
my
it was,
grandfather was short.
Yeah, he didn't need it to be
So,
6 feet tall.
yeah, literally, the old part of the house, the ceiling is like 6 inches above my
Yeah,
head.
yeah, it's like,
Wow.
yeah.
So so there is an old paint station up there where I was working on miniatures.
But it is all exactly where you left it years ago. Like it's all right there. I'm like,
But
oh my gosh.
I was listening to you talking about getting rid of some miniatures.
Right. I have to send some to Shadow.
And
I found 2 boxes of bones still in the original box, which tells you how much painting I've done in the last 20 years.
and that's been my problem. I did what
I've
90
done more painting in the last 20
Your,
years.
your nails don't count. Rach. Your
My
na-
nails.
Yes, John, we are Acadian.
My little
okay.
Buddhas.
All right.
I don't do much. I'm trying to do more for the YouTube channel, but
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's just hard.
Yeah, honestly, I thought, and that's the reason why I was buying all these sets of the bones. Like, hey, when I retire, I used to enjoy. Before I became a cop, I always had time to paint. I'm gonna paint my miniatures again. There were a few that I was proud of, and I bought the paint and bought the brushes, and I was getting. And it's like,
Yeah, and he's got these concepts because, like, when I was painting up my Buddhas years ago, he's like, oh, you paint black, you just water down the black and you paint the black on.
yeah,
I'm like, what are we gonna put black on the Buddhas for? Why?
we're gonna do a
They're
wash.
gold, you know.
We're gonna do a wash.
And I didn't understand. And then he, you know,
Did it work?
we never tried it.
Oh, all
because
right.
you didn't.
It would have worked.
Oh, I didn't throw ready to paint. There we go.
The black paint is still in the
So
in my little craft box.
So I mean, I backed a number of Kickstarters for metal miniatures. And,
Yeah.
And I mean that's like, jeez. Or God forbid, the boxed games that are more about the miniatures than the actual gameplay.
Yes.
Cool mini or not?
Yes.
Yeah, oh God. I'm like, I don't even think I want to put some of this stuff together. I got one that's like a steampunk game with all these extra things. And I'm like, wow, I'm never going to actually do this. Oh my God.
That's the realization I'm coming to, that I have certain painted sets. I'm not going to get rid of those, but you've actually got, because you commented on it, and you've gotten me thinking about,
Thank you.
I have King Philip's War figures that I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to paint these up and we'll bring them to the Wargaming Club, which is now in Massachusetts. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should just sell these. Somebody else will enjoy them.
He has so
I mean,
many.
There are certain miniatures, like the miniatures that I painted back in the day, few and far between. Mostly dwarven miniatures from Games Workshop. Go figure that one out. I always like my dwarves, but the idea that I have all the stuff that like I gave a lot of my Dwarven Forge, my Dwarvenite, to my niece, because she had a period where she was putting together dungeons and telling, it's like, hey,
she
uncle,
like building.
Uncle, this isn't the real treasure. I go, it looks like treasure. No, that's a trap. You step there and it's actually boiling oil. I'm like,
oh.
She was like 7. I'm like,
yeah,
okay. The real treasure is hidden behind this wall.
That's where it begins, though. That's beautiful.
How do you get to the real treasure, though? Well, that's the secret. You can't, because behind a wall. I'm like,
she can be a great game, game master.
That's my treasure, and it's staying my treasure.
Nobody gets my treasure. But so I gave her, my dungeon terrain, because it's like, it's doing me nothing. She'll get some enjoyment out of it, and at some point she'll throw it out, I'm sure. And it's probably $1,000 worth of Dwarvenite. But I had the idea that I would use this. But the reality is, listen, we're in a home in New York City. It's a 2-family home, but it's not a lot of space to even have what we have, let alone I need to make a display for my Dwarvenite. A diorama. No, I'm not going to make a diorama. It's like, hey, Rach, your yoga room, don't go on the floor because
I made a beautiful diorama. So you have to put your mat this way and only use the room
No,
width-wise.
what's going to happen is I would be told, take a picture and then put it away.
Take a picture and get it out of here. Post it somewhere so that you're happy and seeing it.
Oh my gosh.
You know, you have to. I know if I have to give up my miniatures over my games, I'll give up my miniatures before I give up my games. Because the games I'll always off the shelf, and I'll read them. But at 54, I'm not going to pull a miniature out of a box and ooh and ah over it like I might have had my thoughts of doing. Like, oh, I could paint this; it'll look great. Miniatures are looking for an investment of time, which I don't have.
You totally would ooh and ah over your stuff. And I don't want you to actually get rid of anything that brings you joy. It's just you have so much joy.
Well, you know,
I don't have a shortage of joy right now.
Right?
It was different when I was injured from construction and like stuck at home and I couldn't do anything.
You couldn't.
Yes.
I would paint miniatures and sell them on eBay, but now I'm like, oh yeah, I painted that one. Oh, but I sold it. You know, that's the hard part. Is that I kept pushing the my art.
Yeah.
You know, oh wow, that somebody painted a tattoo. It looks like it's floating in the skin. It doesn't look like paint on the miniature surface.
Wow.
It looks like it's a tattoo in the skin. I have to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and so
which you did.
Yeah. So you know, I kept pushing it, and I would sell stuff and make a little money on the side, while it, because it was a 4-year period where you can only watch so much Judge Judy. I mean,
you watched a lot of Judge Judy.
You know, when you got a bad back injury and you can't do anything, I mean, there's only so much Judge Judy works.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
I was out sick 11 months when I had Hodgkin's and NYPD. God bless them. Yeah. You get paid full salary when you're out sick.
Wow.
But I was also restricted. I could only leave my house between the hours of 8 and 4, my work hours. Otherwise, I had to call for permission. And I was having chemo and radiation. Didn't feel like doing anything. But there's only I should have learned then too. There's only so much time you can spend on Anarchy Online or EverQuest.
Yeah.
Before you never want to actually play an MMO again. And I burned out toward the end of that. I was like, really, this is really annoying.
Yeah.
And repetitious, which I think is what we kind of lose when we play tabletop RPGs. It's new each time. It might be the same system or a similar rule system or a new rule system, but the scenarios change. When you're playing an MMO, you're going to, I got to go to the same damn raid, and we got to see if we're going to get the sword of kick my asses.
Yeah.
And well, somebody else in the raid party needs it. We're going to have to do it at least 8 more times over the next. I can't do it anymore. I mean, it was different when I was in my 30s, I guess. Maybe but
you know what? You guys are both talking about like how RPGs got you through health scares, health situations, the social part of it. Like that's how I made Long Life Friends.
The fan magazine, writing for the fan magazine kept me sane.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah,
keep some that are remind you of those times, like little keepsakes and stuff, which I think we have some on the shelf back here, that remind you of like that time, with the miniatures,
But I mean, for me,
and with other games or whatever. But,
well, for me, it was the process of blogging, which gave me a consistent way to converse with people and get feedback, especially in the days of Google Plus. There's a lot more. The blogging was really huge, and a lot of interaction, and Google Plus was much more lively for gaming than Facebook has ever been. Just the nature of the beast. But that certainly helped. I mean, it's funny because
and to me, it's more about like the story of things and how people develop the story as you're sitting with them, and just those interactions as you're at the cons or with the people playing.
Right, you make those connections. I mean, my old gaming group from high school and college. We lost a friend of ours. We had moved to nothing until after 9/11. And 9/11, we lost one of our core group when the towers came down. So then we started doing MMOs. We started doing EverQuest and Anarchy Online to keep the group together. And then we started doing a once-a-year gathering, which I called the Gathering of Fools. So we're doing that in
I
2
love
weeks. 2 weeks, yeah. And I always bring gaming books, so
Nice.
I'm going to be bringing more gaming books this year, and to hopefully get the game group to play like once a month via VTPs. We'll see. But these are connections that I made because of gaming.
Yeah.
In my high school days, and here I am, 54,
Yeah.
and I'm still with these same friends. We're still in an email chain that goes on daily. We're still busting each other's hump on stuff. It's there's a connection that you can make with gaming that it's hard to make otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, kids now, even our youngest who's here at home is 16, and she goes to a school where they have a gaming
Nice.
for kids, which if you're not playing sports or doing drama or some other sort of related thing, what can you do? And that's why it still exists. It's why it's still
Yeah.
But she showed interest in it, and I'm like, oh, let me buy you some dice, and let me buy you a book. And,
Yeah.
Sure.
it was the overeager stepfather.
Yeah.
It didn't work out so well.
No, but she gets it. She knows it. And your stepson, totally. Zach is completely.
Oh yeah,
He's playing
5e.
5e. But he is totally into it. He's got the like leather bound book, and he's drawn out his character and all the stuff. Got the special dice, and he and his girlfriend of over 10 years now are playing with their friends. So it's still a thing. And he's what, 25? So
I have to learn a little 5e to converse.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So James, that's a nice inside joke. Since you asked to think the same topic last night with Glenn.
I thought that was him.
Yes. Is it late enough to ask if there's a topic for tonight?
How RPGs can be part of your health plan. That's what it is.
Well, honestly,
lifelong friends, deal with your health scares and issues.
That's you with theater.
Yeah, people have to have an outlet. You have to have some place to put,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
passion and creative energy. And
I married a theater girl. She's a she's a director.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Then I surprised her by singing along with. She didn't think I was in the theater, and I surprised her by singing along with Fiddler on the Roof.
I was like, what? How do you know this?
It's cool. I love Tevier.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Actually, James, we did have some ideas that we were going to touch upon, but no, this actually became a free-form discussion. So it is what it is. You're still here. We're still talking. So.
Thank you.
But
yes.
Oh, James is tossing a topic out. I've seen some videos on YouTube that claim seed oils and omega-6 oils are unhealthy, but I can't tell if there's any good evidence for it. I honestly, the videos that we watch, what's his name? Always talks about it.
Bobby.
Bob. Oh yeah.
The Flav City dude.
Yeah, Flav City, who has the app that you can scan stuff.
I don't remember the other guy. This other nutritionist. He
bit more. More of a workout guy.
Yeah.
He's
this buff dude that comes on and talks about what you need to have, and it's nice because he gears it towards people who are older.
Yeah,
he'll be like, if you're over 50, you really should.
I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to talk authoritatively, but my guess is the cheaper an oil is to produce, likely the less good it is for you. There's a reason why things like olive oil are more expensive. Yeah, be careful with olive oil.
And this too, like I think sometimes like the fish oil thing, or like oils in general, like people worry about them like being derived, not the real
for
omega. So like it's better for you to eat the salmon than it is to just take the pill. But for a lot of us, we don't eat salmon or things where you find the omega-3s and 6s to be able to have enough to make it work. So
well, I can
like when it's derived, it's not, your body won't recognize, or people fear that.
I can comment on this because several years ago, I don't know, maybe like 10, somebody had convinced me about the partially hydrogenated vegetable oil and high fructose corn syrup. So I cut those out of my diet.
Absolutely.
And so I started reading all the labels, and what I found was I just couldn't buy processed foods.
Yeah.
I was forced to buy a lot of just, all right, let's cook it from scratch. We'll buy some pasta, we'll buy some fresh veggies. And I just found I ate better by cutting those two things out. If you read, but now I find as I read labels that the food companies are adjusting and they're saying, all right, people won't buy this, so let's cut the high fructose corn syrup out.
Right.
Yeah.
And and I got a lot of pushback, a lot of, like a ration of crap, I would say, over the high fructose corn syrup. And then I came down with chronic gout, and I found out that that's one of the things that screws with your blood levels, with the with your blood. And I was like, I was right.
There you go.
Right, and it messes with your inflammation. Like, it causes inflammation. Some of those cheap, nasty oils that are like not good for you, like
palm seed, sunflower.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if they're using an oil and you're looking at it and you go, well, this is the cheapest oil on the supermarket shelf when I'm buying stuff, well, then they're using it because it's cheap. And olive oil, you do kind of have to be sometimes careful where it's sourced.
Yeah.
You want, generally speaking, from what I understand, and I do follow this, single source. So I look at the label. If it comes from like 7 different countries at once, no, thank you, because that's where they can hide the bad ingredients, because you're never gonna know where they came from.
That's like blended scotch.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, semi on this topic, because we're talking about sweeteners and sugars and how they're not good for you. And I used to love Fireball whiskey. I loved my Fireballs, nice and cold. It was great. And then I realized that I was probably shoving down like 5 or 6 teaspoons of sugar with every Fireball. So what I did, and we're overdue. Tullamore Dew is a nice, not too expensive scotch. You can't do
Irish whiskey.
It's hard whiskey. You can't do shitty whiskey for this, because that harsh taste will still come through. But get a nice whiskey. Get real cinnamon sticks, not cinnamon flavor. Get real fresh cinnamon.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So we did.
You guys have made it.
I did like 5, and we did stevia for the sweetener.
Yeah, exactly. We use
I don't use any sweetener. I just put cinnamon sticks in the vodka.
Oh, really?
Oh, in vodka.
I was doing vodka with cinnamon sticks, and then with some whiskey. I don't even remember what I was buying for whiskey, but I was doing it in the basement in the mom's canning jars. I mean, she's not using them anymore. So I was, and then rebottling it and have it, but as my father was getting older there, I kind of switched the scotch a little bit with him, and because I found I could get the stories out of him I wanted to get out of him if I Or the scotch. All right, Dad's having a scotch. I'll have a scotch too. And next thing I know, I'm like, oh boy, I better drink some water so I don't have a headache. I came home one day from work. I've been paired with a coworker, somebody I'd never worked with before. And so we're here in Maine, and I went to Catholic school in upstate New York at Plattsburgh at Mount Assumption Institute, which is now called something else. And out of the blue, this woman says to me, I'm working with her. She goes, Father Gilbert died. And I'm like, oh yeah, Father Gilbert, who taught at Mount Assumption Institute.
Yeah, that was
my religion teacher, my geometry teacher. And she's like, I don't know, but I don't know where she got an idea that I would know who, because she was from upstate New York too. So I come home and I tell Dad, I says, because we're standing there on our smartphones at work. And she goes, oh yeah, here's the obituary. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's Father Gilbert. Wow. And so I come home and I tell Dad, I says, Dad, did you know that Father Gilbert died? He goes, well, that would be why I didn't get a Christmas card. So out comes the bottle of scotch, and we're telling Father Gilbert stories.
Oh, nice.
And I'm learning things I never knew about Father Gilbert or my father. So it was, I had to learn how to drink scotch, even though I don't really like it.
No, I can understand it.
I totally understand that.
A good friend of mine, my parents' generation, who's on home hospice. our old bartender and retired detective, John. He's a Scotch drinker, and he poured me a Scotch one time, and I was like, afterwards, I was like, yeah, dude, let's go back to Tullamore Dew next time. You're gonna pour me some hard liquor because I can't do the Scotch. It's just
paint varnish. That's
Yes.
that's what I call it. It's paint varnish. I'm like, it's paint varnish.
Dad brought home a bottle of Drambuie and was mixing rusty nails, and she got messed up.
Oh yeah, because you did not disclose what was in there, and I was like, oh, these aren't bad.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
No, the rusty nails not bad.
Yeah.
well, if they're not bad, that's all that matters. It's
Yeah.
until you wake up in the morning
Until the morning.
Yeah.
Well, it's Scotch done as a honey liqueur, is the Drambuie, and you just mix it with Scotch. Oh, geez, these are great. Next thing you know, you've had
Wow.
it's
And you're hiding the bagel
a
slicer.
little bit of a headache in the morning.
Like, where's the bagel slicer? I'm like, I don't know. What'd you do with it? You threw it away. Why'd you throw it away? I don't know.
I found the bagel slicer in the trash.
I had no idea. You tell me, then we'll both know.
Oh yeah,
Aw.
that was a night.
Yeah.
But, no.
God.
No, but it was, it was good. It was good to connect with, because I hadn't connected with my father much in life, and I left home when I turned 18, and I just went off and I did a bunch of things my parents didn't really approve of, because they were Catholic, and then I was going to a Baptist seminary, and so that was not cool. And so I was, it was kind of the, plus I gotten in trouble, and there was a lot of drama with me.
Yeah.
And I just hadn't connected with my dad. And so going through a divorce and moving back home, and being the good son, because my brother had always been the good son. He got out of the army, he bought a house up the hills, was close by. My parents call him down to fix things. And so suddenly, and I was always like, oh, that's great, my brother's there, he's the good son.
Right.
And but coming home and becoming the, and getting that chance to reconnect with dad and being the good son was really special. And it also meant, like, I don't like sports, but it meant sitting down and having a Sam Adams when dad if he was having a Sam Adams, and watching some baseball,
Right.
or watching some football. And he also likes watching poker, and I just couldn't do that. Or Ancient Aliens. I just couldn't do Ancient Aliens with him either.
Yeah, we have an ancient alien lover here.
Yeah.
But we would connect on, we find those things we connect on, and it was special in the twilight of his life.
Right.
And it was always hard to get him to come over to my side of things. Like one of the last things I got him hooked on was Battlestar Galactica, the new one.
Oh, really? Okay.
With James Olmos. I says, Dad, you're really gonna like this. And I got him watching, because he never liked sci-fi. And I got him watching that. And then I'd come home from work and I just need to go to bed. I'm so tired. And he'd be like, so we're gonna watch Admiral Adama tonight? And I'd be like, all right, Dad.
But just one episode.
I fell asleep in the chair. It was bad. But we connected on that. It was really sweet. It was really sweet. So, I had the growing appreciation for Scotch, just part of connecting with dad and watch a little bit of sports, and it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah, my father has never been a sports follower. It took me to baseball games as a kid, because you're obligated to go to baseball games and take your kids. So we went to Mets games because we lived in Queens, and the Mets sucked, so the tickets were damn near free.
They're handing them out.
It was just like, and you could go to a Mets game like in the middle of the afternoon on a weekday. It's like the Mets have like 4 day games this week, because
I was always like free whatever day.
Yeah, we always went to free Mets poncho day, free Mets baseball cap day. You always got something free when we went to see them.
Oh my gosh.
It was always what we did. But my father, he's not a sports watcher, but when he retired, his hobby was metal detecting. now.
He's still trying to get him out there.
Yeah, he's still trying. My father's 79. He still wants to get me out there.
Yeah, Rachel, we can all go to the beach.
Yes.
And we can metal detect together.
I'm like,
you guys can find and I can find and
Oak Island. Absolutely. I'm with him.
Yeah,
we will go to the beach.
Rachel, you'll be the one to crouch down and pick this up because you're limber, like.
Oh,
we could go for maybe an hour because I think that's all my skin can handle.
My father will be out there for half a day, but
he likes to spend his time there.
So
the whole afternoon.
Not this year. The prior year for Christmas, I bought my parents for Christmas a larger TV set for their living room with smart TV built in. So now. Before, my father would be watching either the History Channel or Fox News all the time.
Oh, yes.
Now it is YouTube
and metal detecting videos.
And metal detecting videos on YouTube.
And he'll fall asleep with them on, so you hear that.
Oh my
God. But he'll want to share it with you. Oh, you got to see this one. He'll rewind it. Look at this.
Yeah, your mom doesn't spend much time up there anymore.
No, she spends her time in the back. Yeah, she goes to the kitchen and watches on the small TV. I think
her little Lifetime, and
she doesn't have patience to watch more metal detecting. but I'll sit down there for a couple of minutes and let them show up because you're right. It's something that they're passionate about and they want to share it.
Mm-hmm.
I just know, like, with my back and my sciatica, metal detecting is not in my future.
I mean, we'll walk, but not spend hours.
Yeah,
I like the idea of metal detecting.
I think it's intriguing.
But my problem is that metal detecting would be like fishing for me.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not catching fish, I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And if I'm not finding anything with the metal detector, I'm probably not going to enjoy it.
But you might find something.
Yeah.
That's why we watch Oak Island.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Could it be? It's a Bobby Dazzler.
Well, yeah, I love Gary.
I always make fun that they'll watch the Oak Island downstairs.
Could it be? Could it be?
My dad was hooked on Oak Island.
Oh my God. It was a tradition.
When we married and she moved in the house, we would come and make popcorn and sit in this room with him and watch Oak Island with him when it was on. And then what's the other one? Survivor.
Yeah.
We would do Survivor together, the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was all right. Like the first maybe season and a half of Oak Island. And I was like, they didn't find anything. They're not gonna find anything. Why do we have to watch this? They're still going. And they still have nothing.
But I am
nail. And this nail might be from Finland. Or it might be.
But I'm in every time. I'm like, okay, they're not gonna find the thing. Yeah,
but I love
every time I think they might
Gary
find
Drayden, the metal detector guy.
Oh my goodness, the guy from Australia.
Oh,
no, he's from
Australia.
England.
Oh, is it England? I thought it was from Australia.
Bobby Dazzler. That's an English. That's an English term.
Yes, no, that's an English term. I thought he was from Australia.
No.
But yeah,
he's very British.
Yes,
including liking his beer, dark beer. So
dark beers. I didn't like dark beer before I had my blood sugar issues, but now that I have blood sugar issues, it's like, oh geez, I can't get anywhere close to it. It's usually too many carbs. It'd be like, not
full bodied.
Too full bodied. You give me. I have found one light beer that actually has taste, and that is Light Sky. It's the Blue Moon light beer.
Oh.
It's very nice.
It actually tastes like a less intense Blue Moon. It's a wheat beer, and it actually has that orangey tangerine hint to it, and it's a little cloudy. I was like, it's a little. It's actually,
what is it, Valencia oranges? Or
something like that. Yeah. But it actually has that wheat beer cloudiness, which you don't find in any. I tried that Bud. What is it? Bud
Light Orange.
No. There's a zero carb
Bud Light Next.
Bud Light. Bud Light Next.
Oh,
yeah. Bring me the next, not next, because it's.
I lived in Boston for a long time, so I like Sam Adams. I like the Sam seasonal. you know, Dad's favorite was the Sam Summer, so he'd send
Sam
me out at
Summer.
the end of
Oh,
summertime
To
summer ale.
collect it all.
and buy
Oh,
every case they had in the store and
Yeah.
put it in the basement for them. And
Well,
I
because
just drank the last.
I don't
Sam
like
Summer.
beer. I think beer.
A year
tastes-
later, after his death, I'm drinking the last Sam Summer.
Sam Summer is good. It's a really
Mhm.
it's actually it's like to some extent it's like a Blue Moon, but with more beer taste to it, as opposed to the Blue Moon is a bit more fruity. I like the Sam. I used to get it on tap at my local pub when I could actually, you know, drink real beers and not be concerned about it because I wasn't paying attention
Right.
to it.
To carbs and all
My
that.
Yeah.
problem with beers is just a lot of calories for very little alcohol because it's only like 5-6%.
Yes.
So there's no bang for your buck.
Plus, it tastes awful.
And I'm
That's
gonna get
my
all these-
opinion.
And they used to tell me
Encouraging
at work
everybody
to
to
say
drink
that I had a beer
hard
belly. But I would, you know, I'd be like, no.
I invested money in that belly.
That's a pasta belly. I came by it honestly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Hold on. Rach shall return.
Sorry, guys.
But listen, for me, if I'm trying to kind of save on calories and carbs, it's the red wine. You know,
Exactly.
because the red wine, I find that red wine, if my blood sugar is already at a good number, it'll bring it down.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it doesn't tend to spike me, and you can actually find some red wines that are low sugar red wines.
Yeah.
Pure is one of them. It's not bad. Oh God, there's another one with some like yoga like things on it, or
Skinny girl. Is it skinny?
yeah. Rach would probably remember what it was, but
Yeah.
I mean, they are nice, but they're hard to find.
Mm.
But my go-to if I'm going to go for like a $10-11 bottle is the Apothic. Usually any of the red Apothics, except for the they make one with coffee, and I'm not a coffee drinker, so I kind of turn my nose up on that one. But you know, you gotta adjust. I mean, I
Hi, John.
Good night, John. Oh, good night, John. Not John Boy.
yeah, no Walton's comments tonight, please, John Boy. Mary Ellen was not allowed to talk during the Waltons.
Oh, yes, do not.
Yeah,
I love that
her.
show. That's like if I'm super, super stressed, like from work,
That's her de-stress.
that's
yeah.
like if I'm watching Waltons and it's not for any other, that's a bad sign.
I know if she's watching Waltons, I need to just go play Civilization.
I haven't had to do that though.
I
Like
don't think
I
I-
changed jobs,
Usual.
which is a good thing for your health. Just saying.
You don't know about John Boy and Mary Ellen and
See, my mother used to imitate it, John Boy, because we have John.
Oh, so you would say good night, John Boy.
Yeah, and only that. So I know the reference, but I've never seen the show.
Oh my goodness.
One TV in the house, and when Waltons were on, you were watching the Waltons.
Oh, that was your mom. Your mom was like,
And Little House on the Prairie. And
Shut up.
Bonanza,
Oh, yeah.
which we know another friend likes. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, it was the.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy thinking about the Waltons. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
For me, it brings me back to like this peaceful time when it was less complicated. It was complicated for them, but not in the way life is a little bit more complicated now. But it is my go-to if I just need to reset for a minute.
Aw.
Yeah,
Comfort.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like sci-fi.
Yeah, he's like the Waltons again. He'll say he's not watching. He has nothing to do with it. And then because the TV's this
It's
way.
either
he
the
watches.
Waltons, Harry Potter, cooking shows.
Yeah,
I've lost control of the remote.
true. Yeah.
I've gotten Rach to enjoy the Marvel series on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, and
Oh, yeah, we love
sci-fi too, like in
Oh, The Expanse.
The Expanse and the Babylon 5.
Yep, P5 was a fun. They're rebooting that. I'm not too.
I feel like
Yeah.
sacrilege because
I never caught a lot of Babylon 5 because when it was out, I was in seminary. I was working
okay.
for nurse's aide, so I was just working my tail off to put myself through college. So if I could catch it at work when I was putting somebody to bed and they had a TV on,
Right.
Yeah, but you told this story the other
I
day.
know,
You timed it.
I would schedule certain people to go to bed at certain times because they had a TV in their room, and I could catch Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Nice.
So it was like, all right, you're going to bed. So it's 4 people with 4 TVs. We're all going to bed, and I could get them in bed and washed up and done in 15 minutes each. So we just go
and taking the Star Trek, at least auditorily.
from the room,
Aw.
and
there you
usually
go.
the TVs were
Gotta
still on
have
the channel I
something.
left them on.
Yeah, you got use commercial time to go from one bed to the next.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Make it work for you.
So yeah, I made that work. It was, well, I mean, you go to school all day, then you go to work all day, and somehow you figure out how to do your homework.
Yeah. I worked retail. I sold electronics. I used to use the word processors to do my creative writing assignments because it was slow at night.
Cool.
It was slow at night, and it's like, oh, if I don't do it now, I'm gonna have to do it when I get home.
Ugh.
It's like, I don't think that's happening.
Nice.
But going back to a question earlier today, why do Rach and I do the Gamers Health stuff? It's for this. Literally, we're all having fun. We're all laughing. We're all smiling.
Right.
The conversation is relaxed. Whether it's just me and Rach or we're having the two of you on, our chat is lively because people are talking to each other, which is great, and commenting and asking us questions. This is all, it's not just mental health, it's a spiritual health too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's important because if you're not feeling
service to a community,
right.
And even just being able to, talk about, describe what your experience is of a certain thing.
Yeah.
Even about tough things,
giving people,
time
for feedback to it too, because they might identify in some way.
Yeah.
Well, when I was injured and stuck at home, and my youngest biological daughter was not in school, so I'd be home all day with her, and then her older sister would come home, and so I'm Mr. Mom, and I'm just managing the house. So all week long I'm stuck with the kids. I couldn't wait to go to the wargaming club on Saturday.
Right.
To have that day where I could go and be with other adults.
Yeah.
And just talk crap. Other war gamers, other amateur historians, and just none of the fantasy sci-fi games. They were almost always playing a historical war game, and so we discussed the history, and it was just interesting to explore the history because I know that this unit did this and they got destroyed, so I'm not going to do that in this game and be stupid, but I'm going to try something, and it was just to be with other adults.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, you can just, all right, I can breathe.
Yeah. You have to do that.
It recharges batteries. I mean,
yes,
I think it was something that happened with Eric, as you had your congestive heart failure, you were hearing about there were other people in the community that were having health crises, and so I think that
the
sort
whole
of
thing
played a part too.
It did play a part because you talk. I just talked about it a little bit on Facebook, and people were going, "Oh shit! Well, I had this." It's good friends.
Yeah.
And you didn't know.
Yeah.
You had no idea. You're like, wait a second. We get together here. Glenn Hellstrom had congestive heart failure. I didn't know. He's talked about it, but it was just like holy shit.
Yeah.
So by sharing about my experiences, my processes, and Rach talking about what she's going through and her processes, all this stuff makes it no longer seem like, oh, this is like a restricted topic. We shouldn't talk about health issues. We shouldn't talk about how to control better control your blood sugar, or oh my God, I had a bad week of eating shitty food. I don't. That's my sin. Nobody should see it. It's part of the reality of life, and a lot of times we forget that because we kind of close ourselves off to it, or we want to close ourselves off from others seeing our imperfections. I've never been one that worried about people knowing my imperfections because there are many. And if I don't share them, some jackass will probably point it out and go, "Hey, can't carry that whatever. If
Yeah.
I already brought it up,
You
if
8
I already-
mile them and put it
yeah.
out there. So
if
that
I've
they
already
can't
brought
mess
it up
over
and
with
talked
it.
about it, there's
Mhm.
nothing that you can say about me that I
Yeah.
have already said.
Right.
There's no ammo for anybody to dox you.
There's
Yeah.
a power in sharing your information like that because, again, you don't know who's went through what. And people sometimes make assumptions like, been through tough stuff, and people assume like, oh, you're so strong. And I'm like, yeah, but it is not easy. And that's good for people to hear because it might
Oh,
seem
yeah.
like you've got it together, but it is hard. And that's good for people to hear because as they struggle through things,
Yes.
it makes it less uncomfortable to talk about or admit or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I remember the day that I talked a little bit about my colorful past before Bible college with a coworker, and she just knew me as that's the guy who goes to the
Bible
seminary,
college.
and she was like, "Wow, I always just thought you were a goody two shoes." Didn't know you'd done that, and spent a night in jail, in the slammer. So you let these things out, let the hair down a little bit, and it helps with connecting with people.
It
Yes.
does, because people are like, oh, I'm the only person that's gone through
Exactly.
nobody else deals with why. No,
Yeah.
a lot of people do, and you don't know because it's human nature to a large extent to be very protective and insular when it comes to things that are not showing yourself in the best of light. I'm talking about my struggles with weight, my blood sugar, and my heart issues, but the reality. And it's almost like society today is very much built upon this perfect image.
Yeah.
And the reality of life is not perfection. The reality of life is you're living life and you're hopefully trying to do the best you can, or at least get closer to it. Perfection, if your goal is perfection, you're never going to succeed.
Oh my gosh, no.
So,
and people make mistakes and then they try to act like they didn't make them.
Right.
And you're like, dude, I know.
Stop and keep moving.
Yeah, falling on the sword.
Yeah.
I witnessed it as a cop. We had 2 cops in my precinct that got in trouble, and they literally just went, all right, yeah, we did it. We screwed up. We shouldn't have. So when it came down, when my captain was getting yelled at about it, because I was the witness, because he made me sit in the room with him as he was on the phone, on speakerphone, telling me, just shut up and don't say anything. Listen in. When they got in his ass about his cops, like, yeah, they've already fallen on the sword. And this is the punishment I've given them. Like, wait, when they fell on the sword? They admitted it? Like, yeah. They admitted it. I changed the detail. They lost their days. They lost their study days off. I'm not going to do anything else because they manned up, so to speak. And
right.
And the inspector was like, "Oh, okay. Well, then I guess it's done." That's the easy.
That's how you move forward.
That's how you move forward.
Yeah.
When you try to hide your
pretend it doesn't exist.
Listen, especially these days, the internet never forgets.
Oh my gosh. Aren't we so glad the internet was not alive back in the early 80s or middle 80s? My God. Yeah. Anyway.
Back in the days of the Commodore 64.
Oh, yes. 64C. I had the nicer looking keyboard. It looked like a computer keyboard as opposed to the clunky Commodore keyboard.
Right.
But I mean, we are really we're spoiled, and at the same time, I think many of us totally ignore the fact that yes, the internet never forgets. The reason why on my blog side, I had instances where I've been wrong. Yeah,
sure.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I'll go in and I'll leave up my mistake with the edit that I screwed up. I'm not, if you hide it now, people are going, whoa, why did you delete it?
Yeah, exactly.
I screwed up. I was totally wrong. I'm going to own it. And because otherwise someone's going, well, I went to the Wayback Machine, and the Wayback Machine, your post initially said, it's like, yeah, I was a total jackass, and
you're really good about that too. Both of you are good about going, look, I was wrong. Here's what I said.
People respect you more if you own your crap.
Yeah, you guys are both good about that. Not everybody's good about that.
I mean,
But you guys are good at
you're never going to be perfect, especially in the situations where Tom and I are in, where you're dealing with information in real time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's not like the days of old where it's like, all right, you got 24 hours, 36 hours before a news piece comes out.
Yeah.
You're getting stuff right away. You're dealing with it. You're digesting it. And you have such an abundance of information that it must be right. And then, a week later you go, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
It was mostly right, but it was partially wrong. And I've got to now own up to it.
There's been a couple of times I was like, I don't know about this. Let me wait and see if Eric does a video on it. And then I'm like, all right, well, Eric did the video, so I don't have to.
It must be okay.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't do the video now because I would have been wrong.
Well, I mean, listen, when I do videos on certain things, if I have visual or audio evidence, I will present it. There are things where I'll say, I'm spitballing, like I'm drawing conclusions. I'll say I'm drawing conclusions. This is what the evidence looks like. This is my conclusion. Does not mean I'm going to be right. But if I was a betting man, my money would be on.
This is what it looks like to me.
This is what it looks like
now.
to me.
Exactly.
But there are often but there are often times with events going on in this industry that I have stuff that I know is happening, and I can confirm it, but I can't declare how I can confirm it, and without declaring it from an unknown source, I'm not going to go through it and say, "Hey, I know exactly what this jackass did." Well, I can't give my evidence, so I don't know exactly what the jackass did. Yeah. I personally know, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So
or you don't want to expose the source.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to expose your source, and sometimes you're told in confidence, but there's a thing that Frank Messer years ago told me at where we were at. It was at GaryCon, and Frank saw me. He walked up to me. This is back when I was covering the Ken Whitman stuff. And he's like, oh, just like my wife is always very concerned about you. Go, what do you mean? She's like, well, she's worried about your coverage of Ken Whitman because she reads your blog posts and she worries that you may be crossing a line. I go, really? He goes, yeah, but I told her, I know Eric and I know where the line is. And Eric goes up to that line and occasionally spits over it. But he does not cross it.
Right.
And you have to know where that line is too. But it was also nice to know that people in the gaming community at large are also paying attention. If honestly, if myself or Tom or somebody else in our circles stepped out of line and did something that was egregious, you could be damn well sure we'll get called on it.
Oh, you got
Oh, absolutely it would.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no way somebody's gonna go, oh, but it was 10 cars. No. I've already had people call me on stuff like, do you really think I'm wrong? Well, you weren't wrong, but it was in poor taste. I'm like, well,
it is what it is.
I occasionally have poor taste. Rach had to swallow some of her taste when she decided to marry me, just a little bit. But
totally understand
that. There's a reason why, like when I have to do, my videos are monetized, and you have to self rate your video, and I don't, without even listening to my video, I always know what category I fall into. It's like I don't know whether I dropped an F-bomb or 3, but if I didn't, you know what? It's okay. I'm just gonna rate it as if I did.
Right, because you probably did, and you're not.
I probably did. We'll just roll with it because that's where it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So you just gotta.
Right, you definitely have to play it back and sort of.
No, I only. I usually pretty much the ones I play back are the ones like, well, I think that was really exceptional. Now I want to laugh my ass off as a viewer, as opposed to the person.
Right, or sometimes I'll think like, oh, well, did it go too far?
Right, and
let's play it back and make sure,
Yeah,
we really feel comfortable saying what we said.
Rach is a very good filter.
Yeah. You and I are so cut from the same.
From a filter.
Because I'm again on the other side of this setup here. That's where my desk is, and he will say, is it okay if I record a video? And I will, of course, be listening.
Yes.
And then every once in a while, I have to put my hand up so you can see it. And I'm
You
like,
can't say that.
I'm like, that crosses
Yeah.
your toe on the line, honey. I love you, but that was too
Yep,
much.
I usually sit there in that gray chair with my legs folded up, and
Yeah, and then usually with Rach, occasionally you'll hear a snicker. I'm like, oh, I did pretty well, or she'll throw in her commentary.
Oh yeah.
But there's been times I think actually it was only once in the middle of one of my recordings where Rach went, "Yeah, I think you got to stop." What?
Yeah, don't do that very often.
Yeah, I think you got to start it.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, babe, no,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
and he
maybe
knows it.
not.
As soon as I say something,
Maybe
he'll
you
go,
want to say it
"Oh,
like
that was
it
that's
is.
too much, right?
Yeah.
That was too much." I'm like, yes, that was too much.
yeah. It's like, yeah, you might want to rephrase something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, rephrase that.
Yeah.
That was
You know,
terrible.
I fly off the cuff a little too far, and then she pulls me back, which is good because otherwise I'll just get called.
Because then I'm like, babe,
on the
people have
internet.
mental illness. So some of the stuff you're talking about, I'm like, and believe
That's
me,
usually the area,
right? I'm like,
Yeah.
babe, you got to remember, there's that can't help it part of this, and I know,
Right,
there's
right.
stupidity, and then there's the mental illness part, and sometimes it's
Yeah,
it's hard to figure out
I
which
was harsh
one.
once
Yeah.
or twice on Dave Johnson
and I'm
in
like,
a video, and she pulled me back.
Wow.
Yeah, no, Rach has too. Or I'll talk about, hey, I'm gonna do a video. What are you gonna do it on? And I'll say, she's like,
I know.
Are you sure?
I'm like, really?
You really want to do that? I go, well, why not?
Yeah, I'm like, you might want to
You
rephrase
gotta
that.
be
You wanna-
really careful how you phrase it.
because you're gonna
Yeah.
Like there's certain people that just do not deserve to be
Oh,
one town, or like stigmatized or ostracized, and then where like most of the people that are in that sort of situation aren't evil, but it's just that one specific person that
That's like that kid.
Wait, what?
That
too. Well, yeah, like, I was just saying in that
All
Monday.
right, all right.
But yeah, I guess there could be two that are evil.
you get passionate. I think the both of you are super passionate, so it's like I get where you're going because I get you're so frustrated by this thing, the stupidity thing.
Yes.
But while we're diving down into there, like remember, there's probably a real mental illness probably going on there at the heart of this.
That one kid, he was taking some shots at me, and right away I
Oh no,
it was somebody else.
Yeah.
But then I researched him, and I was like, oh,
He's
and he announced
actually-
he had Asperger's, and I'm like, I'm not going to respond to him at all. I'm not going to take any shots at him. He can take all the shots he wants at me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just not going to do it. And so we let that pass.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the person I thought it was. I thought it was somebody else trolling.
I thought that person was somebody else initially too, because like there's nobody.
Well, then you turned it on, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
we start watching.
Hobby, Eric. It attracts.
And then
Yeah.
My hobby. Oh, it's my hobby now.
So I'm like, we give him a pass.
And then he was harmless. You're just like
other trolls, we troll right back.
Yeah.
Other trolls we push back on.
Tom's very good at it. I enjoy when you was it control. It's like
Well, yeah, I mean, there's one guy, and I'm like, hey, I've missed you. And then he doesn't troll and comment for like 6 weeks. And then he comes back again. I'm like, oh man, I've so missed you.
And then he hides again.
When you troll me.
Oh my goodness.
And it just scares him off.
Yeah.
They're having a moment of lucidity, and then it's like, oh,
yes.
So
I'll take the next 6 weeks off, please. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so it's I mean, you had a longer history as a blogger,
yes,
before you got into this, and I just was like, one day just said, I'm gonna try that and see if I can't get monetized, and then you kind of set me straight on how big the mountain is, and I don't have the history of blogging beforehand,
right. I mean,
so I don't have followers that would just come along
Yeah.
and help me
Yeah.
on their own. So it's a bigger hill to climb.
It is a huge hill to climb, and even with that, it took me a while to get there because last June I was only at 500 subscribers. I hit 500 at North Texas.
Oh wow.
And, it's been a hill to climb, but I am still a blogger for about, I guess, 11, 12 years now.
Yeah.
I had a great presence on Google Plus, but when Google Plus went down, so did the 9,500 people who had me in their circles. Facebook has listen, I can't complain, like 3,300, but it's a different atmosphere than Google Plus. Google Plus was a more interactive for gamers. It had its dysfunctions, but it still was more interactive. But also, before I started doing the YouTube, I was doing podcasts with Vince Florio and others. And so when I
right, there's a trail.
There's a trail. So you do. But I was already told when I was doing podcasts, I'm not going to say the podcasters, if they were established, were annoyed that I was doing as well as I did off the bat, because who are you to come in and get 300 downloads a day? It was like, because I didn't put my time in building it up. But you're right, you come in with it, and it helps.
Yeah.
But it does, obviously it does not transition over perfectly, because the blog is always been ranked fairly high, and the YouTube channel is always a slow but steady. It's
slow burn.
Turtle. It's the turtle compared to but
yeah, and you're building a little by little.
I mean, you can only get better by doing. You can
you're learning every time.
Yeah, I mean, and that literally is part of the process. And you can only get better at it, and you can only fine tune your craft. I suck at this shit. Okay.
That right there is exactly why he gets so many followers. He's just friendly. That's what makes me want to keep watching. That's why I say to you, you didn't tell me he put a video up. What?
Before we came on, she was over there watching your video.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, I mean, when I put out when I put out Swords and Wizardry Continual Light, I published 2 pay what you want products on drive-through. I put out Swords and Wizardry Continual Light. I learned layout to do it, and it got great reviews. I did this with James Spahn did the bulk of the writing, but I did the layout, and we worked on it together. And the best comment I heard about my layout was, "It's serviceable." Okay, that was the nicest comment. It's serviceable.
Like, what kind of comment is that?
So I listen. I know that layout is not my strength. So now I got Jeff Jones working with me, and he put together Torchlight 1 and 2, or 0 and 1, I should say. And we've got Continual Light coming out this summer. But Jeff's project, he's doing a layout. I know my limitations.
Yeah.
I know that when it comes to doing stuff like this, I don't work well from a script. I tried that when I was first doing a podcast, and I was trying to do a very proper radio voice.
No.
Because I thought that's what you had to do to be. And no, everybody wants to hear Tenkar from New York.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear the. So
no.
You have to find your rhythm. With the blog, it took me almost 2 years to find that rhythm, that it was natural for me, and I wasn't forcing topics, I wasn't forcing posts, and people were coming back because I was me. I wasn't. Oh, I know what you want me to do. No, I was doing me. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
That's what you've been through so far.
Because I was like watching. I'm like, okay, if we report on TSR, I get the most viewing hours. I get the most views. I get the most. So I'm going to do some more TSR, and then people are like, man, we're getting tired of this. We wish you'd do something else. And so I reached the point where I'm like, I don't care what the I don't watch what the view hours are. I just
you do your thing.
Subscribers turn up when they turn up. I don't pay attention to that. I don't try to pay any. I just kind of go, and I feel like it's better.
That's nice. Emperor's choice.
George, thank you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've written scripts and I've not written scripts, and I wing it. I like a little bit of a script, but I find that if I don't have a little bit of script, I'm doing 3 takes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you do 3 takes now.
You want to
Because I got to get familiar with it, you know, and you know, because I'm, you know, there's certain points where you want to be excited, and animated, and you don't want to be like, you know,
blah 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 blah.
So you know, and it just takes 3 takes sometimes if I don't have a script. But if I write a little bit,
and
of
if
script,
the microphone is turned on,
and if
Oh,
I
I
don't,
did that. Oh my God.
but if
he's
I-
recorded whole things, and he's like, and he gets done, and on the other side, I hear "son of a," and he's so mad, and I'm like, that was brilliant. What is
it was
the
brilliant. It was a
problem?
brilliant take.
What-
The
yeah,
microphone wasn't
He's
on.
like, it wasn't on. I'm like, okay, so we've listened to the whole, I hear him do the whole thing again, and then he finds out some other glitchy thing. I'm like, you need to create a little card that says, did I check this? Did I check this? My dad used to have a sign on the way out of the door. Do I have my sunglasses, my keys, my wallet? I'm like, you gotta make sure you did all this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I had that same thing. I had to record something 3 times because I think the first time the mic was muted. And it was like a 15-minute video. I was like,
It's good to know.
son of a. I was like, it didn't play. The mic was, and then I'm 8 minutes into it. My son calls me, and I didn't turn the ringer off. I went, son of a. So then, now the third time, actually, I thought was probably the best of the 3, but I would have been happy with the first. To tell the truth, man, Rach was like, calm down. It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay. But that is, so like for me, and Rach has heard my process. I'll talk to myself sometimes for about a minute, just random words of what I'm trying to do and put together, and what I'm going to talk about.
I'm like, what are you doing over there? I'm practicing. I'm like, okay, well, you might want to just like give me a heads up because I think you're starting to lose it. I don't know what you're doing over there.
But,
well, I know, like when crying a certain way, it's that, and I'll be like, oh, okay, you want to say this, la la la.
But that's because, like Mike and I joke about it on our Wednesday night shows. We usually have guests on, and a lot of the times we have guests on, like, oh, so are there questions I need to know about? And we're like, questions?
What?
No, we're gonna spend the first 5-10 minutes just bullshit and relaxing, and then we're gonna jump into it. Now, if there's something like a project they're working on, I'll have the tab ready to go.
Yep.
Mike is actually very knowledgeable, so he's really great at asking questions and bouncing off people, whereas I'm usually the one keeping up with the chat. But we don't, having a script or a number of questions, we gotta hit the next bullet point, never seems to work for us. We're not Ken and Robin talk about stuff. Ken and Robin is a scripted show that is entertaining for a scripted show, but it is so I don't know. It is like watching an HBO show compared to NPR YouTube channel with Rach Tenkar, which is
good analogy.
That's what it comes down to. You get what you see what you get. But we're not fine tuning it. I don't edit. If something goes wrong, I don't go, oh, I'll just splice that in and do a quick cut. No, it's like watching one of those movies. Like, wow, I can't believe they did a 17-minute single take. It's with one camera. No, everything is one take with us. I am technologically no longer capable of learning new stuff. Somebody who used to put together computers like 20 years ago and build my own, I am now at the point where give me a Mac and I never want to open anything up again, and I don't want to have to install weird programs, and I'm good. I was mentioning to Tom before, I was like, I had friends that are trying to teach me how to use OBS so I can save money on my StreamYard subscription. And I'm like, I understand this. It's error proof. I mean, I hit a button, I send a link, people come in, and I can handle it. I don't. The bells and whistles beyond it make me nervous.
I like StreamYard. It's idiot proof. It's easy to use.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it is. It is. I've proved that it's idiot proof. I was actually coming, much to my wife's chagrin, coming back from a medical procedure about a month and a half ago. I actually got the Friday night live stream up and running from my cell phone as my son's driving us back.
Wow.
And I'm getting the, what are you doing? I got to get Joe and the rest into the live stream. Even if I'm not going to be in, I
Right.
got to log them in. I can do it from my phone.
Wow.
So that's StreamYard. That if I could do that from my phone, it must be great because
Right.
and I'm one hand tied behind my back with current technology. I can't learn layout from like InDesign. I bought the
I
book a couple years
remember.
ago.
Yeah.
I was going to learn InDesign. No, paid for it. Ain't happening. It's just
InDesign's a challenge. I've beat my head against it a few times.
I mean, I have great people I can refer to. Zach Glazer has offered to help me as much as I want, and I'm like, yeah, no, the return on investment for the effort I'm going to put into it, and what I'll probably wind up doing with it, I'm better off having just a good team of people that are specialized in something like that, as opposed to me learning something like that. I'm never going to be great.
Yeah, but you're great when you have a great team of people with you.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
And I've been blessed with my projects that are in the works. They get great people that work with me, and they want to work with me. I don't understand that completely, but in the case of Jeff volunteered. It's like, hey, you need a layout person. I'm willing to help you.
Wow.
I go, okay, how much do you want? I goes, I just want to help you. Like,
Wow.
What's the trick to this one? And I went, oh, wait a second. You're 54, and we actually share the same birthday, month and year.
Oh, no kidding.
No. So he's like, yeah, I think we were supposed to meet. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're probably right. Okay.
Meant to be.
So this worked out. So, I small miracles, whether it's with my health or with projects or stuff like this, I take them as they come. I don't second guess small miracles, but I do take it as a blessing because.
Well, it does seem like there have been angels watching over you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you related?
Yeah, actually, I guess after my initial health problems, that summer, I was seeing my heart failure specialist, and I heard the doctor. He's a doctor. He's in his 30s, fairly young, but he's like, "Do you believe in a higher power?" And I was like, "Huh?" I'm looking at doctors don't usually talk like that. And I go, "What? Yeah, I believe in a higher power." He goes, "Oh, because somebody's looking out for you." I go, "What?" He goes, "Somebody's looking out for you." This. He goes, "Somebody's looking out for you." He goes,
that was the confirmation that you were doing the right thing with gamers.
Right.
So he goes, "You're supposed to. You're doing the right thing." He goes, "Everything that you're doing." He goes, "The stuff that if I was in a situation, I would do." And he goes, "And I have the education in the field. You're just taking my word." But he goes, "So you're operating on faith." But he goes, "Somebody above you has faith in you too." It's like, all right, thank you, Doc. I'm in the doctor's office. You're gonna make me cry. This sucks, but it was good. I came out glowing.
Yeah.
So it did. It reinforced the idea that something like Gamers Health. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we have people that on Thursday nights at 9:00 Eastern on the Discord server. We just do a gamers hangout. We talk about geek stuff, nerd stuff, tell stories, talk about old movies. But for some people, this is their chance to get out and socialize.
Yes.
They don't have otherwise.
That's why it's important.
This would have helped me when I was stuck at home, injured, really couldn't get out, couldn't do much. And I'm just talking to a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
You reach a point where you just want to talk with another adult.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy, but it's easier if I want to hang out with my friends and game, I've got to drive 45 minutes or take a subway for an hour into Manhattan. I can log on to my computer and play with friends from throughout the country in real time.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
George, the truth is, Eric, you drew me into the YouTube world, and then others like Tom and Shadow have excellent content, which has expanded my interest. Now I spend time on YouTube.
Well, it's better than watching soap operas.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, I'm sure there are parts of the.
I don't think it's any soap operas anymore, except for
There's like 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Hardly.
Yeah. Although I've been told that some of my TSR coverage is more like a soap opera, and I don't like soap.
Wow.
See, we have to, create more since we're just shortage of soap operas.
Oh, listen. See now you get me thinking stupid thoughts about like maybe like a teleplay based upon some fiction that somebody wrote, because we have like 4 people. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Do you think Dave would do a copyright strike on that? He probably would try.
We would try.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I think he would.
I don't think he understands copyright. Though.
No.
He doesn't understand it at all.
If you just write copyright on something, then it's copyrighted.
It's like they stole it from me.
Yeah, but you just have to write copyright at the end. That's all you have to do. Then it's copyrighted automatically.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
Yeah, that could be like the closing caption
copyright
on our video.
Oh,
Right.
it's a big screen. It says copyright.
Yeah,
Copyright who?
copyright somewhere. Somebody.
I've written so much that was published in fan magazines, which I can't make any money off of that because it's got to be free. It's got to be given away free according to the fan license. So
Correct.
I'm just so not worried about it. It's and I've published one thing on drive-through with a pay what you want. And every so often I go on there and I'm like, woohoo, we're gonna buy something on drive-through today, because enough money's come in from it.
Yeah. But
But
you don't have a tom.us films, no.
No.
Oh man, come on.
Sorry.
You failed, man. That's the way to monetize.
I think if I could go back in time, maybe I would have started a blog way back, Star Frontiers blog, maybe, but
Yeah.
But the fan magazines, they kept me sane, they kept me alive, going through life. Things I was going through in Boston. So
right.
And then I had my one Irish friend who's just I love the guy. He's just such an Irish cliche, and we connected because we were the same age, so we tell the same stupid jokes.
Dad jokes.
One of the delivery drivers would get lost, and we'd be like, "Oh, he's on a 3-hour tour." We knew what each other were talking about because
nice.
So we had the same shorthand of pop culture references that none of the younger kids got, and it was great. And and people didn't understand. You went to Bible college and you're friends with him, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? Because we were so diametrically opposed as our life views. But I got him.
Yep.
And I got him, and this was the guy that I got stuck on Cape Cod, and he walked across East Boston with gout and intercepted my 5-year-old daughter getting off the bus. Because I wasn't going to be there to get her off the bus.
Wow.
And he did this with gout and said, hey, come to work. Your dad's going to be back soon. And so he took her to work. It's an Italian bakery. So he gave her some cookies and a pen and draw pictures so your dad gets here, and so look, I get it. This guy he's got some rough edges. He's been in jail and he's not. Other people look at him and judge him, and I'm like, I owe him a debt of love. You can't repay that.
No,
I'm sure.
And that's what real life is about, right?
Yes.
Real life is
messy, and
it's messy.
People make mistakes, and
it's not black and white.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for perfection, you are going to lead a very miserable life.
Absolutely.
And Billy's got rough edges, but I love the guy.
What a heart of gold.
And any time I ever says, hey, I need some help, he dropped what he was doing. He was there for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many friends do you have like that in life?
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And me, I was up here in Maine and I found out he had assaulted somebody who had touched his teenage daughter. But actually the truth was is his son had, and he just, but I was like, oh geez, I'm going to have to go visit him in prison.
Wow.
But in the end, he didn't go. In the end, the charges got dropped. But it was just one of those things. And I'm like, all right, I'll make special trips to go visit him in prison.
Yeah, well, and I can understand that. Somebody touched my niece, I'd probably be looking at 5 to 10 minimum, because it'd be serious.
The other person he was an older than her teen, but he was still a teenager, so it was kind of not going to go well for Billy.
Yeah.
But in the
I
end,
got you.
In the end, it got dropped.
I'd always send you commissary.
Thank you, Rach. I appreciate the fact that you'd send me commissary. How about send me role-playing game books, all right? Yeah, all right.
They might not go very far.
Yeah, they might not.
Shadow, what is Rach's favorite game?
You mostly play Swords and Wizardry.
I guess Swords and Wizardry, since that's what I played the most. Still exploring what my favorite it could be, Swords and Wizardry, because I know what to do, and I understand the way that the characters are and some of their entitlements and stuff. But yeah, I'm still sort of like trying new games. I haven't tried so many. I want to try Cthulhu.
Yep. Oscar's game.
I would like to try Cthulhu.
Yeah, Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Cthulhu. I've just never played it.
Yeah.
Oh, I have.
Like, what?
And all this talk about Star Frontiers is making me kind of curious. What could that be like?
We can pull
Star Frontiers.
Star Frontiers not genuine if you want to. Call of Cthulhu, I have not run in a good 30 years. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, but in small doses.
Well, I follow Professor Dungeon Master on Dungeon Craft, and he always talks about Call of Cthulhu every so often, and that's really made me intrigued.
Well, and Oscar loves.
And then Oscar, our
Oscar
friend
Rios,
loves Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
He writes for the Invictus setting, which is like
okay, yes.
Britain and Call of Cthulhu mixed.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah, it sounds very cool. I just haven't had the chance to play.
There are endless options out there. Literally, whatever your interest might be.
Probably should sign one at a con game.
Yeah, but there are endless options.
Well, I think
and Top Secret was always fun.
Top Secret, Merle.
Yeah.
DCC RPG with Doug.
Yeah, that too.
Couple of
so many good ones.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of good options. I mean, if I'm going to run a game, I'm going to be running something like Swords and Wizardry Light or Continual Light, because I'm involved in the process.
Yeah.
I know the rules, and I can run it without referring to them. And they're great for convention play because it's a light rule set. You just keep the action going.
Right.
If I'm going to run a campaign with my old gaming group, I think, was it Beyond the Sunken Lands? It's not OSR game, but it's made more for, hey, you want to play in an hour, 30 minutes, in 15 minutes? Just pull the scenario pack out, read it up, and get ready to go. It's going to be great for a bunch of gamers who are MMOers now with the idea of, oh, let's get together in half an hour and play on a VTT. Right? I'm going to do that. I want something I can, and it's going to be Swords and Sorcery. So that's kind of the Conan setting. I think they'll enjoy that. So we shall see. But holy shit, by the way. We are 2 hours and 15 minutes into this. Holy.
With no script or pre-planning.
No.
We
And
had a fleeting topic of the omega-3s and 6s.
but actually we did touch on things like mental health.
Yes.
We did touch on that.
Yeah, and how important the game can be to like people's social and mental well-being.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your whole development. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you just need a vehicle to get you that interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and occupy you.
It can be life-changing. Can you imagine your life without it? No. It became it actually was vital.
It was, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we started dating, I had just gotten back into gaming. I was playing on Fantasy Grounds. No voice or video, all text. And I came back. I think we're playing. Initially, I was in a group that was playing Dark Heresy, from Warhammer 40K, and then I found a group playing Castles and Crusades. And this woman actually told me to take her home, so I would get back in time to play my nightly, my Saturday night game.
Mhm.
And I was like, I must have found the right woman, because he's insisting I do. It's not like, well, if you wanna. No, she's like, take me home. I go, you have a game at like 8 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, but I can skip it. No, you can't. I was like,
Who are you?
Is this
I know.
reality? Is this real? So I really knew early on that I had struck gold. If you can't tell from the hair, you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Well, I kind of knew it was a good sign that you had already played Dungeons and Dragons
Yes.
Wow.
in the past before you met me.
Yes.
So it was like, oh, this
You're like, excuse me, what? All the signs are pointing north, and you're like,
Aw.
that just put you over the edge.
Yeah, that is very cool. I mean,
Yeah.
again, the fact that Rach didn't just tolerate or humor my hobby, but was like, no, you have to embrace it. This is part of you.
Yeah.
This is
Hello.
It's part of like the whole package.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
there was early on, right after we got married. Actually, there was a gaming group that was playtesting 5e in Lower Manhattan. I was working in Lower Manhattan, and this was like Tuesday night, so I would adjust my schedule. And Rach was like, "You should do this," and I wouldn't get home until 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then Rach was just like, "Did you have a good time?" Too. I would get debriefed what you guys did.
Where'd you drink at? Where'd you go?
Yeah,
Right.
but it was
Who all was there?
yeah, but it was just she was like, making sure you're going to go out again tonight. Like, see me in the morning. Like, yeah, tonight your gaming night. You got to go out.
Yeah.
So it lasted for a couple of months. It was a good idea. It was hard to get people in Manhattan to work out work schedules and everything else, even though it was in the evening.
Yeah.
But it was I got to meet Tavis Allison, one of the designers behind the Electric Conqueror King system, to that. So can't complain. It was early on in my blogging career, but I got to meet some pretty cool people.
Yeah.
And I got to play test 5e. God help me.
Oh, you were play testing that, or was that like
we
a
did
different?
That. No, we did that too. No, we did that.
Free.
No, we did other games, and we did some the 5e play testing. I was like,
Wow.
Because there was one of the games that you tested,
Dolphins,
and it was like you can kill them. Like it nothing could get no consequence come.
Yeah, and we played a game that was a play test of a game that was kind of loosely based on Echo the Dolphin, the Sega Genesis game.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that sounds painful.
Yeah. It was interesting. It wasn't really my cup of tea, but in any case. All right. I'm going to actually say we're going to call it a night, because this is all right. So just so the two of you know, I'm going to push Tom to go to TableCon next year in Massachusetts, so we can actually put faces to this. The Marlborough, Massachusetts.
Oh, I thought you guys going to Texas.
We're talking
about it still. Like, oh my goodness, can we make this work? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, there's the kids need money. Graduating from college.
Don't even
you
start
have to set them up for when you go. Yeah.
We've already experienced the kids need money aspect.
Yeah.
So we were trying to work out the finances for North Texas. But it's still Metza.
Yeah.
Okay.
ShireCon is in Falls. It's a one-day con in Falls River, Connecticut. But
they have inns and stuff over there.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be pretty nice to like.
So we
come on the Friday's day and hang out.
We missed last year because I had car problems, but I also lost out we had a 2-night stay at a local inn that I had to eat because we had car problems. But
jeez.
But TotalCon is in February, and it's a lot of fun. And again, it's something that we can drive to. And if
Right.
you can drive,
Yeah,
if you can drive to a
absolutely.
convention, you've just cut your costs by
Yeah.
over half.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can drive there.
Yeah, we can drive to Connecticut.
No, Marlboro, Mass.
Marlboro, Mass, easy.
Yeah, you
Mass,
see?
Connecticut, anything in
Yeah.
New England.
Well, we
Yeah.
drive to Boston all the
Yeah,
time to see
yeah,
the girls.
that's like
Wow, all right, so you're right
2.5
there.
hours,
Yeah.
piece of cake.
Well, thank you so much. We will have to do this again because,
Yeah.
folks watching at home, this is what happens when actually like two couples hit off spot on. Although I kind of knew this was going to happen like 10 minutes before the show because we all kind of stepped right into it real easy.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Oh, thank
For
you.
coming.
because we're like the new kids on the block.
We
so,
are.
Oh, well,
Oh, no.
You know,
Hey,
we appreciate it.
well, you're better than the new kids
It's
on the
very
block. Come
comfortable
on.
and feels like you've been here a while.
Yeah.
I know, right. Yeah, because we're super fans. So that's like
Oh.
we'll geek
Well,
out about
see,
this afterwards. Like, oh my gosh, we
I
were
look,
just on
I look
Tenkar
at
and
people who are
Rachel's
doing
show.
this who are better than me, and I'm like, all right, what is he doing that I'm not doing, and how can I implement that?
Yeah,
So
Listen,
it's that kind of thing.
yeah. We'll geek
I-
out after.
I was asked long ago how to make do a successful blog, and my only answer was, you got to do it. You just got to do it. I mean, for me, blogging meant I had to. I know me. It's the reason why this channel is up every day. If I don't do something every day, I will not have any rhythm to it, and I will not want to not doing it and
And
missing.
you can't
Right.
just talk about it. You got to just do it.
Yeah.
That's
So
why
I need
right?
that structure.
don't talk about
But you need just do it and get a rhythm. I mean, sometimes for some people, the rhythm is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Some
it.
people,
Yeah, that's what you're starting to do. You're starting to like
Yeah, unfortunately, I almost I'm like, oh, geez, I got to work on the fan magazine,
yeah.
and I got to go work on this other project, and
Yeah.
then I got the video.
Yeah, he's trying to find the balance.
it'll sort itself out.
Yeah,
and it will. And you've got a good voice for this. And
Yeah.
I'm saying your physical voice. You have your presence is a good presence.
Your
You're passionate.
experiential voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Rach. Here's the real test, Rach. How many gaming YouTube? Now we have our YouTube on our 65-inch TV. How many gaming channels do we watch on YouTube?
I think one.
Right, one.
Yeah, just yours.
Just yours.
Tabletop Taproom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
that's
Because I have the
super
two. I
cool.
I split my channel, and I was like, oh, that was.
I don't think I saw the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Star Frontiers channel. It's just
Yeah.
everything Star Frontiers.
But so again, I mean, occasionally I'll pop into other ones here or there, but you're the only one that we watch with any regularity. I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't even turn on the cable box. Not when your TV plays YouTube and Disney and
Yes,
Netflix.
no, ours did too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Gotta love the Roku.
But seriously, Tom, you're only going to get better by doing, and you're doing, and just enjoy the process.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish I'd started this sooner.
I feel the same.
You're
I feel the same way. So don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
You know, but again, thank you both. We will have you back. That's a guarantee.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, now we're gonna hit the point where I do this in every damn episode. And we're still in the midst of the world of COVID. I'm not your father. She's not your mother.
Yeah.
They're not your parents. Act like an adult. Make your own decisions.
You know what to do.
Be informed.
Do you and
Common
keep
sense.
going.
Common sense. Be safe. Be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. I'll be back tomorrow with some random video, and catch Tom at the Tabletop Taproom. Laters.